All right, so we are playing Final Fantasy 1. Any percent.
On the Game Boy Advance, we got to specify.
That's good. That's a good thing to specify.
It really does matter. Because some versions are just ass miserable.
Yeah, so just as a little preface, Final Fantasy 1 has been released on everything with a screen.
Yeah.
So you've got basically 3 different major versions. You've got the original NES version, which only masochists run.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Game Boy Advance run, which to me is more of a pure speed run. It doesn't use a lot of glitches and weird nonsense. It's just how good are you at video game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the PSP version, which is the one that everyone and their grandmother runs because it is a glitch fest. You do an equipment glitch at the beginning of the game that gives you end game weapons, and you just steam plow the video game. It's just...
Okay.
There's also the 4th version, the PSX version, which no one runs because it's.
We don't talk about that version.
But without the ability to save anywhere.
And having load screens before your random encounters, because everybody loves those.
Yeah, remember all those problems with Chrono Trigger on the PSX? They're in the Origins edition.
Nice.
So yeah, that's why I run GBA. Now the consequence of that is that this is not a marathon safe run at all.
Well, lucky for you, this isn't a marathon.
This is very true.
Also,
you can fuck up for a long time if you want.
You're the last run of the day, so.
Oh yeah, save the best for last, baby.
That's right.
What you're saying is apologize to tomorrow's crew.
But I did think ahead, and I did. There's one major wall in this run, and we'll get to it, and we'll talk about it, because, god damn.
Also, real quick, just for anyone watching, the stream that you're seeing is slightly behind, so the audio will be adjusted when we go into the actual thing. But I can't have the stream audio and be in the call at the same time, so it'll be fixed in a minute. Trust me.
Aha.
So
basically what you're saying is we need to stop with the preamble and get this thing started.
Hey, listen, I didn't say that, but I do agree. So
Well, let's get moving then.
Okie dokie.
Already.
So this is Final Fantasy with Silent Hero Live. Tongue twister. All right, y'all take it away.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so timing this starts whenever he presses start after you've named all your characters. And I promise we won't do the typical boring, just go through all of the bread and butter details. We're going to make this fun. This is a fun run.
It is.
But we can get some housekeeping out of the way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to let Breach handle a little bit of the commentary at the beginning, because there's some menuing and stuff I got to remember to do early on. So I'm going to let him talk while I handle that. But as far as the run goes, we're going to get that started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we did mention that this is the Game Boy Advance version for a very specific reason. And one of those is, well, partially that you start with equipment. But one of the biggest advantages this version has is you can save anywhere. So what he's going to do initially is he's going to get some armor for his characters. I don't know what, did you just buy 4 chainmails?
I meant to buy 3 accidentally. My thumb slipped and I bought a 4th.
But he's got a fighter, 2 red mages, and a white mage. And this party makeup is very essential for this route. There's a newer route that has a different party. It's not what we're seeing there. This is one that's kind of a modified of an older route so that we could cut out what's called 15 tile, which I'll address when we get to the ship. But we go in, we get some equipment, some magic. That way, we're not just the 4 random pansies that they found in the forest there. We can actually do something. And naturally we set it to auto dash, set our message speed to fast, so that we can just scroll through all this and not have to sit here and listen to the king laugh, or was that him raising his chin? I don't know. The sprite work is great in some places, not great in others.
There's a lot left to the imagination. You kind of gotta supplant your own ideas for what's going on a lot of the time.
I mean, the game is literally a year older than me, so they did what they could. Not this version, but the game itself, and they updated it really nicely.
Yeah, Breach is a fossil. You got to remember, he's old man yelling at the clouds.
Yeah, most specifically yelling at Cloud Strife. We do want to work our way up northwest to Garland, and we're gonna we still take the a spider or a zombie in this route, right?
I'm gonna take the Gigaswarm. There's a combination of anything I could take. I want to get to level 2, but I want to do that as optimally as possible. Yeah. You could fight either the 1 ghoul, 3 zombies, or Gigaswarm. There's a couple of different parties that are guaranteed level 1 to level 2.
Yeah. One of the big I am gamer things about this run is knowing which encounters to take and which encounters not to. For a while in the beginning, we're on a tight race to get there fast enough, but also to have enough experience as we go along so that our mages can learn the spells they need when they need them. And oh, hey Garland, you want to knock us all down, huh?
Yeah, this with the setup we've got, this fight is pretty much just hold A to win.
Yeah.
There's no real brain power goes into this one. To be the first boss, he's kind of a pushover.
Yeah, original version he's got like 100 HP. I think here he has like 250 maybe. I mix up my values between the games because they did adjust the boss HP values in this,
yeah,
which is really a shame.
There's enemies have a lot more HP because mechanics are changed. You just do more damage, so they had to. If they kept the old HP values, you'd be able to kill Chaos at level 5.
Yeah, the scaling is way different, as well as things that were bugged in the original version are mostly still bugged, but there's a few that actually work.
So we've rescued the princess. We're done. Hooray! Time.
Yay!
No, don't actually stop the timer.
Man, you came in really underestimated. Man.
I know, we got good RNG the whole way. I like to just give a nice buffer in case bad things happen.
Can't believe people step route that short of a run.
There is, if you're familiar with RPG speedrunning, you'll hear the term step routing quite a bit. And basically what that means is there are very specific steps that you want to take on a predetermined route to influence what random encounters you get. This game does have a step route, but I hate step routes and I don't want to learn them, so I just deal with it.
Yeah, nobody wants to do 3 hours of son of a bitch, I accidentally pressed right.
Yeah. Because, like, some of them are so strict, like Final Fantasy V GBA has a step route that's so strict that you get one step off and you're just ruined.
Yeah.
The rest of your step route doesn't matter.
That's cool and all, but that's really stressful.
And now imagine doing that where you have a thief and you're holding sprint the whole time. Yeah, it's pretty miserable.
Sprint plus auto dash. It's you got the zooms.
I'm a little worried about White Mage's HP going to Provoca, so I'm going to take a second to heal up.
Yeah. And I see your Red Mages continued with the meme of this game of never getting HP ups.
And we got an unskippable cutscene here where they detail out the plot of the game. So it's actually a good time to explain the danger of the Red Mage. We're going to make a lot of comparisons of this game to classic Dungeons & Dragons, so if you're familiar with that rule set, this game will make sense to you. Because basically Final Fantasy I was a group of Japanese men that wanted to make D&D for the NES. When the Red Mages level up, they have what's called HP variants. So it's just like rolling a hit dice to determine how much HP you get on level up.
Except, it's 2 rolls of the dice. One to see if they get a strong or a weak HP gain, and then another one to see what that gain actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have some levels that are dedicated strong levels for your different classes, and you're guaranteed to get, your HP, your strength, your core stats will increase. Otherwise, you're rolling on some fucking fire in the book, and you might get intelligence your warrior and nothing else.
Yeah. And it's most notably because we need our red mages to get to a certain HP threshold in order to have a chance at winning the game.
Yeah.
Like, we need them to break 300 HP. And everybody else, the white mage and the warrior, that's going to be no problem. They're going to pass that with flying colors.
Yep. They'll be probably at some points double the HP value of the red mages. Just because they have really good vitality, which is one of the things that influences your HP growth. But
Ooh, I'll take a lizard.
That's not an encounter you get every time.
Yeah, lizard's kind of a rare encounter, and I got the preemptive, so...
You know, this delay actually isn't that bad on the video.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm watching from the Doxathon page.
Oh, God, CC just got demolished.
I mean, that's what a red mage do.
Yeah. Well, everybody else is going to get some bonus XP.
That also is kind of a problem, though, because there are a couple encounters we would definitely want to take on the way over here that he's going to miss out on the HP or the experience for. Excuse me. Wolves are never one of the encounters you want to take because their experience yield is so crap.
Oh yeah, the names for all of the characters were done very intentionally. I chose that. I took a little bit of a longer route there to go around the forest tiles, just because everybody's kind of weak. You do have a higher encounter rate on forest tiles than you do on plains tiles. And
they're not even really glass cannons, because that would insinuate that they do a lot of damage. They're in the party mostly as support roles.
Mm-hmm. You two are supporting me, the hero.
And I'm just keeping everyone mostly alive. Sorry about that, Cece.
But I will take a quick little extra bit of time to revive CC, just to have him alive for the pirates.
Now, the resurrection values in some games, like Dragon Quest, are based off your level. In Final Fantasy here, the resurrection, which we typically don't even end up having, well, we ideally don't have to talk about in a speed run, but that and the end values are set by town. So this one will always be 80 to res, 50 to rest. And back in Cornelia, I've played so much of the original that the bad translation sticks sometimes.
He's an old man. You got to look past him.
It's always going to be 30 and 40. And here they got some pirates, and we're just going to punk out some pirates.
And currently, there's some pirates that have overtaken this town, and we go talk to the captain. We're like, hey, stop doing that. And he sends his lackeys after us. So we kill his lackeys. And in return, he gives us his ship.
Because that's what heroes do. You gotta stop being pirates. I don't want to. You make me. Okay, we will.
You're getting some good damage rolls on your hammer.
You know, that'll stop.
We'll stop very soon.
Yeah. Even with, like, the best hammer in the game, the white mage isn't really gonna crack, like, 120 damage at endgame.
In a casual play, though, you can give the white mage Ultima weapon, make him do buku damage.
The mouse salmon eye?
Oh, yeah. That one. I always call it Ultima weapon for some reason.
Well, they changed the name on it and so many others. This spell that he's buying now, Temper, is one of the ones that was bugged in the original, and why the HP values of the bosses had to change so dramatically. What it does is it's an infinitely stacking attack up spell.
Yeah, infinitely stacking. So, like, we just watched Pokemon. Imagine X attack, but, you know, just forever with no limit.
Yeah. You just
Even
keep
Pokemon has a limit. This one doesn't. Ooh, Ogre. Delicious.
You gotta take those for the gold. Get a nice, cool 190.
Alright, so right now is where my path, my personal route for this game diverges from literally every other one. Because we would be doing a mini game to get money. But I suck at that minigame and have some personal issues with said minigame, so I don't do it. So we have to do it kind of the old-fashioned way and grind for money.
Yeah. The minigame in question is the 15-tile minigame that I alluded to before. Both Final Fantasy 1 and 2, oddly, in their on-field vehicles, not airships, have minigames attached to them, where you hold down a button, press another button a set number of times, and it takes you to a puzzle. In FF2, it's a memory match game with toads if you do it right. And in this one, it's a 15-tile where your rewards are based on how fast you do it. And in this version of the game, you gotta do it in 30 seconds. If you're playing on emulator, good luck. It'll depend on which emulator you're using. Original hardware, you have a bit better chance, but there's several tiers of rewards, and one of them, you win Mega Elixirs, which you can sell for an assload of gil, and another reward that you can get from that is an escape rope, which functions very similar to Pokemon, except you don't go back to a Pokemon Center, you just go to the entrance of the cave and have to hoof it from there.
But I have, and here's my speedrunning hot take for all of you. I have problems with using 15 tile as part of the route for a very, very serious reason. And I'm going to use some dangerous wording here. I'm going to use the term spirit of the game. That means by incorporating 15 tiles so heavily into the route, that means that now, in order to have a competitive time for this game, I have to be good at a completely different video game. And I just feel like that is very poorly handled. I don't think that should be part of the route. I think at the bare minimum, there should be a category that is no 15 tile, but that doesn't exist. So here we are.
Yeah, so here we are with 15 tile. Did your controller die?
No, I forgot what my items were and I had to look over.
Okay.
We have to come back to this town like 4 different times and buy things, and I get my shopping list confused every time I do it.
That's fair enough, yeah, because this town has the other best spell, but our guys aren't quite high enough to learn it yet. They need to be, what, level, is it 13 or 16 before they can stack that?
For Fyro, we need to be level 9.
For fire, it's level 9, but for haste.
Yeah, haste, that's way down the line, but we don't have to worry about that too much.
Yeah. Yeah, but Fyra and Thundara, they need to be level 9. And those are your AoE magics in this. In later Final Fantasies, you could just make a spell be AoE or not. The designations between them was just their power level. Ew, Dragon Ball Z words. I love Dragon Ball Z, but slipping it in here just feels wrong. That's what she said.
Hey, now.
But here, the designation, your first level spells are going to be single targets, except for Dia, oddly enough. And your higher ones are going to be multi-target. And by multi-target, we mean everything.
Yeah, literally everything. In later Final Fantasies, you would have the option to either single cast for big damage or split the damage amongst them. Not how it works in this one. Just your rank 1s are always single target spells, and then the higher ranks are always multi-target spells.
Also, you're getting a healthy amount of ogres on this run.
It's very nice, actually. It made the money grind really quick.
Especially with having to take a small detour for a little bit extra cash there with bringing CC back.
Fucking CC dying on the job.
Who, you know, he died on the job, but look at his HP value.
He made up for it.
Yeah.
He realized he had a glass jaw.
He's doing work. CJ could really learn a thing or two about 20 extra HP.
Oh, not the tarantulas. So this
So
game kind
here-
of abides by the law of green.
Yeah, green things tend to be poisonous. And poisonous things, oddly enough, tend to be faster than you, so it's hard to get that preemptive attack that you just got on the werewolves, which are poisonous. At this point in the game, we're supposed to just dick around Elfland until they tell us about the Northwest Castle. We go there, there's some crazy dude sitting in a room of bats who tells us to come down here because his crown was stolen by the Dark Elf. So that's why we go to the Marsh Cave. Because it's a speedrun, we already have that knowledge. There aren't story flags tied to that, and we can just come down here and go into one of the first real roadblocks in the game, which is this dungeon.
This one is not nearly as bad, and we'll explain it when we get there. But basically, we've got to fight a boss, quote unquote, to get an item that we need.
Yeah.
And guarding that item is said boss, and it's a trap tile, which means it's a tile on the floor that will always spawn an encounter.
Mm-hmm. And it's a fixed encounter, so the way that this game chooses encounters is you roll for an encounter to see what it is, and it'll be like 2 to 5 imps and then 3 to 6 whatever else to fill it out. Like this could be one of the blood bones, 4 or 5 of the regular bones, and then a crawler. Well, this particular fixed encounter tile he's about to hit is 2 to 4 Pisco demons. And I put the emphasis on the piss because they knock the Pisco right out of you.
And we need a very specific number.
We need 2 of them.
We cannot survive anything more than 2. It truly will not happen. I can't even like try and get lucky and make 3 happen. I've got to get 2, so that means we save right before the encounter tile, and we have to reset until we get 2. It's the first big hurdle of the run.
And I'm going to add a caveat to that. You can have 1 character survive with 3, but you're going to miss out on a good chunk of experience because these guys will one-shot either of the red mages. On a crit, they'll one-shot the white mage.
So this is one of those opportunities where your PB can go to die. And it's just the first of one that could be even worse. There we go. That's what we want.
Fortunately, they only have 80 HP each, so they go down pretty quick. But they hit really hard. Like there are a lot of...
CC! Come on, man.
This is a good time to go into how the enemies decide who to attack. Because there is a row system built into your formation. Your top slot is going to take 50% of the enemy attacks. Your number 2 slot, number 2, it's going to take 25%. And then 3 and 4 are going to take 12.5% of the attacks each. Unlike later games, there aren't like deviations from that, where, well, that's a reset.
Yep. CC, you got another shot.
In some of the later games, there are enemies who are hard-coded to attack a specific slot in the party in priority, or to go after specific characters or not attack specific characters, but here we just have a straight decision-making. And this isn't even the most bad of the reset encounters to drive you crazy. Which, for as safe of a game as this is with the ability to save everywhere, each of these can really make a huge difference. A year ago today, Hero and I raced this game, and he got his sub 3 hour PB in that race because, you know, he's damn good and he'd been putting in the work to grind out this game. And I got stuck on the Lich and the Wizards for a combined about 15 to 20 minutes.
Basically gave me a free run. See, that's how easy the fight can go.
Yeah. It's really simple when things go right. I would also like to point out that that run was, I didn't post it, but it's still faster than my posted PB of the dog shit strats.
Yeah,
Which, if you're not
you don't want to run dog shit strats. That's not a valid strategy.
dog shit strats are where you're doing a half-hearted casual speed run as a reward for an audience, and you stop in the middle to go clean up dog shit where your dog pooped right next to the air mattress where your friends have been sleeping.
It was a thing that happened. They are definitely not meta.
They're not meta, but sometimes you just gotta wing it. It's messy for sure, but it gets the job done. These gargoyles also are assholes, but not the biggest concerning thing.
I fucking hate gargoyles, dude.
One of the most obnoxious things that you can get in here is called the Poisonous Party Mix, where it's just a combination of spiders and slimes. And this actually would be in the encounter. We just got lucky and only rolled 2 of the green slimes. But they, like I said, poisonous things have a high agility stat, so they tend to go faster than you. If you had any AoE magic, that would be a... Oh, you do.
I got Dia.
I forgot you pick up Dia.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically for this encounter and to not get stun locked.
Yep.
And zombies and ghouls, while not individually as good as ogres, whenever they come in as big of a pack as this, they're a good gold source.
Also should probably talk about turn order. Imagine, again, we're going to call back to D&D and like initiative scores. You know, at the start of an encounter, you roll for initiative, and then that determines your turn order. The way FF1 works, imagine if you did an initiative roll every single turn.
Yeah.
So there's no predicting what order that you and the monsters are going to go. It's just, you kind of have to think ahead and hope for the best.
In a task, it is manipulable because what order you end up going in and what happens is determined on the frame that you input the attack on. But unlike the Dragon Warrior 1 manipulation route, there's just too many inputs to do that reliably here. And even that, you'd have to know ahead of time what you're doing.
I'm honestly probably taking too many encounters, but I like being safe.
Yeah, you're taking good gold encounters, and they give decent experience. You've got a little XP to make up for on CC, but not much. Only like what, 60, if that. As long as Astos doesn't rub off on anyone, then.
CC, you better not fucking die again.
I guess that joke doesn't make sense in this version because they renamed the spells.
Yeah, it's death. That joke went absolutely nowhere, and you just look like a perv.
I mean, yeah, but in the original game, the death spell was called Rub because I assume it was a direct translation, and it was something like erase them from existence. So rub an eraser. That's the logic in my head canon. Like, he's not just jerking them off to death or something, I guess. Drain them of all their... Yeah, we're stopping that.
Didn't I tell you not to Howard Stern? Like, specifically?
I told you not to Howard Stern. Anyways. Turns out that little old man in a castle full of bats was a bad guy, and he double-crossed us. Who fucking knew? His name is Astos, not Asdust. And he switched around and put Breach in the lead of the party because of that death spell. He's got a 50-50 shot on what he does first, whether it's from his magic script or his attack or a basic attack. And the first spell on his magic script is...
Oh, good shit, CC. Good shit.
Hell yeah. I think they reworked the frequency that death hits in this version, because it seems to miss a lot. And one more thing to mention, in case it happens, is he can drop a really good sword whenever he dies that you typically can't buy until after the first orb. And we wouldn't see that happen, although it's pretty damn rare.
Didn't get it.
Ah.
It's not worth resetting for. It's just because it's so rare. You know, it's less.
Yeah.
It's less than 5%, I think, on actually getting it.
I think it's a 1 in 16.
But it's one of those, like, if you get it, awesome. If you don't, then, you know, I don't even think any of the top 5 runs for this game have it, so.
No, I think I got it on the solo Black Mage run I was dicking around with. Or maybe, it was on another speed run that I ended up getting real stupid and not save Scumming Earth Cave properly. Because I got cocky because Mithril Sword.
Alright, everybody's level 9. That's exactly what we need.
Yep.
So maybe I didn't take too many encounters. Looks like I took exactly enough.
It's actually a good little experience routing you have right now. So the guy that double-crossed us, turned out he double-crossed someone else because he's such an upstanding citizen. And we got a crystal ball from him, and we get to keep that crown. We're the kings of Northwest Keep now, apparently. But there's a fortune teller that we also were supposed to stumble into back when we were going to Pirate Town Pravoka that we just skipped by because we already knew it was there. And that's who's missing their crystal ball. It kind of looks like Fortune Teller Baba with a big old beard. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a big Jay Leno chin or like a beard on the sprite.
Jay Leno chin.
You guys will see once we get there. It's either someone in a Viking cosplay or it's actually fucking Jay Leno. Well, if it's the Crimson Chin, then that makes the brooms Timmy Turner.
Yeah. I mean, they are sentient brooms, so.
Yeah, they actually teach us a spell.
Oh, they teach you how to open the map in this one, I think.
Yeah, it's in the original version they say tell us B Hisup, a magic spell, and it's literally push B select backwards. And then you get the really obnoxious, like, nails on a chalkboard sound as the NES tries to load an entire world map.
I'm taking this encounter just because it's so hard to run from, and the big guys can just stun lock you.
Mm-hmm. They have, like, very small HP. And the thing that makes it hard to run is the Sahajins.
Mm-hmm.
So like we were saying that poisonous enemies tend to have high agility, water enemies also do.
Depending on how much money we have, I may have enough to buy Thunder 2, or Thundara in this one.
Yeah.
And that will basically make all boat encounters negligible. But that's a judgment call you have to make based on the amount of money you have when you get to the store.
Those tier 2 elemental spells are 1,000 gil a pop. Maybe they're 7,500 in this version. This is while we're talking about versions, this started as the Wonder Swan version, which got ported to the PSX, which offered up easy mode, and then it got ported to the Game Boy Advance, which based all of its pricing and experience gains on easy mode.
The tier 2 spells are 1,000 gil in this one.
But yeah, you see, that's clearly either a beard or some kind of weird coif or a big old chin.
Probably could have took that ogre fight, but I elected to run. And that's kind of like, that's the speedrunner's dilemma of this game is, do I fight or do I run? Because you could gain time by running, or you could lose it by failing to run and spending more time than if you'd have just killed them. So it's always a toss-up.
Yeah. And there's no flee command, so you're not going to have Titus jump in and go, live and let live!
Yeah, no instant run. There's just hope for the best.
You do or you don't.
You having fun, CJ? I mean, as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters.
You know, there's a lot of times when I randomly break out into song. I'm not going to fault you. I won't make fun of you for that. You got that song stuck in my head now, though. And that's on you.
So we got the Jolt tonic from the crazy old woman for giving her eyeball. We use the Jolt tonic to wake up the Elf Prince. Elf Prince is going to give us a key. You see what I mean by this is just Dungeons and Dragons? This is a DM that did not make notes until the night before the session and was just crapping out shit to keep his players going.
I need some early fetch quests so that they learn to explore the world. Crap. In the original game, she doesn't give you Jolt tonic, she gives you the herb, and you bring it back to wake him up, which is really weird, because in my experience, herb puts me to sleep. But, you know, elves have different physiology.
It was laced. So now that we have that key, scattered throughout a lot of the early game are doors and chests that are locked by the mystic key.
Mm-hmm.
And that mystic key let us get the items.
Even later on, in some of the dungeons, like in the Sea Shrine in particular, there's doors that are locked by the mystic key, and I just wonder fucking why. Because even to get out of this little self-contained continent to the greater world, you have to have the mystic key. Oh, while you're passing back out of the magic shop, check the grave if you would, unless you're already past it.
Sure. Oh, wrong one. There it is.
Yeah.
Here lies Link.
Yep. In this version, it's Here Lies Link. In the original, it's Here Lies Erdrick, because Nintendo was still trying to get rid of a lot of those copies of Dragon Warrior that they couldn't give away all of with Nintendo Power. Good game, but Nintendo took the publishing rights on it and tried to print as many copies as Mario 3, thinking that, you know, Americans were really going to adopt the RPG genre. And we love it, but it's still pretty niche for...
Ooh, I only had enough money for one gold needle. That's scary.
It is and it isn't.
It just means I gotta be more diligent about saving.
Yeah, I mean, that spot... You're going to be save scumming a lot there anyway, because there's a lot of unrunnable encounters, which we haven't even gotten into yet. Some enemies in the game are coded as unrunnable, and they have that little boss flag, because back in these days it was, remember those Pisco demons you fought as a boss? Well, now they're a basic enemy later on, and not too terribly farther on. And early Final Fantasy games were really terrible about that, particularly 2, but here as well.
I'm just convinced you can't flee in Final Fantasy 2, to be honest.
Yeah, you were having a rough time with it on that last playthrough.
I just think it doesn't work. It doesn't exist. It was supposed to be put in the game and they just forgot.
We actually just had a D&D session last night on a boat. It was good times were had by some.
Not by you.
No, I almost got it.
Yeah, we play a Pathfinder conversion for Final Fantasy, and it's a lot of fun, if a bit complicated.
It gets really fucky, but it also lets me play as a Tomberry Geomancer, so come on.
And I'm a Burmesian Dragoon.
And apparently, Moogle-eating dodecapuses, which are octopuses with 12 legs, also like to eat tomberries because they're small and they look delicious. I assume that I'm sour apple flavored because I'm green.
Oh, dude, his Tunberry Geomancer's fucking scary at times until he runs out of NP, and then he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
That -2 to your attack is kind of detrimental.
Yeah, if I run out of MP, it might as well be Garula and FF5 hit with Silence and Toad. I can swing at stuff all day long, but I can't get a combat roll to hit anything. So, we needed the key to go get some TNT out of the locked storeroom in the castle, because that's what you do with your explosives, if you just leave them in a box and lock the door and hope for the best. And we're going to take that over here to old Narek in the dwarf cave, because he wants to make a canal. Little guy's got big dreams.
Terraforming, yo. We do it with explosives.
And while we're there, they have another room that's also locked by the Mystic Key that's got some goody goods in it. Some of which for selling, some of which for equipping.
And free money.
Yep.
Get free money to pay your bills.
If you're playing through casually and you find yourself just, 1,000, well, 900-ish gills short, that door actually isn't locked. So you could just sail on over here and just rob the dwarves blind. I assume that was their life savings. Maybe it's, Little Dwarf's college fund that you just raided. We're just, Bernie made off of the dwarves right here.
It'll be fine. Look, they're mining stuff. They'll find gold eventually.
We meant to pay it back.
Lolly-ho! They actually don't say lolly-ho in this one.
Nope.
It was a Final Fantasy IV invention.
Yep. Yeah, lolly-ho means the same thing. Fucking words are hard. Means the same thing to them as like molly grow or golly no. Yeah, in the localization of FF4, they decided to give the dwarves a catchphrase, because who doesn't love a catchphrase? And their catchphrase happens to be lolly-ho.
LALI-HO.
Which I assume was just the translators trying to make a reference to Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and not wanting to get sued by the mouse. And so they're like, hi-ho, lolly-ho.
I never looked at it like that. That is probably the case. Especially knowing Woolsey.
Yeah. Yeah, Woolsey loves to make things very kid-friendly in his translations.
Probably to his credit more than his detriment, if you consider the time period upon which he was doing these translations.
Oh, very true, and especially who he's doing them for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Nintendo of America? Yeah, Big N had an iron fist on any kind of censorship.
Yeah, and if you wanted to put a religious symbol in your game, that iron fist was going straight in the pooper.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of straight in the pooper, we're headed to Melmond.
Oh, boy, it's the worst town in the fucking game.
The worst town in the fucking series.
Yeah, it really is. It's even worse than that town that tries to kidnap Vivi in 9. Dolly?
Yeah, Dolly.
Where they're running a high-end black maid smuggling ring. But we got a canal built, which means we can get out of this really big lake and into the ocean proper.
The reason that we love to clown on Melmond so much is, first of all, the town looks like shit. Like, there are cobwebs in the inn, things are broken, it barely exists. But the real issue with Melmond is why we had to purchase so many items in Elfheim. Melmond doesn't have an item shop, and it doesn't have a church. So if anybody dies, we can't revive them.
Yeah. And it also features a continent where you're supposed to make 3 dips into dungeons here to get through it. You have to double dip the Earth Cave because there's a blockade halfway through. You pick up an item, take it over to an old man, he gives you his rod, and then you smack the door with the old man's rod, and then you can go further.
You had to phrase it like that, didn't you?
Abso-fucking-lutely. You're triple dipping dungeons here, which sounds really cool in ice cream terms, but is really horrible in dungeons with no towns having item shops.
All right. How much money do we have? 2,000? All right, so we can sell basically just both cottages and be good. Sweet.
And look at it, you can even tell from the outside, they built all of their buildings out of actual horse shit. Like, they just mounded up a big pile of turds and then hollowed it out, and they're like, oh, this is the inn. Everybody wants to come sleep here. But the lore reason for why Melmund is such a shithole and they have more cemeteries than people is with the orbs that we're all carrying, because for some reason we had orbs at the beginning of the game. It really doesn't go into why. The orb's light isn't shining anymore, and we have to restore the light to the orbs to control the elements of the planet. And the Earth one is causing the Earth to decay and rot. So none of their crops are growing, all these people are dying, and we get told that there's something in the Earth Cave. I'm excited to see what the wow.
Oh, just the got a preemptive on ghouls, or not on ghouls, on shadows.
Oh, the shadows aren't that bad. They just inflict blind, which is bugged in this game. It doesn't do anything.
Well, but the thing is they have a high ambush rate. They have like an 80-90% ambush rate. So to get a preemptive means that I got the other 10%.
Undead things are also very fast and have high agility, which really turns the theme of this game into you guys are really fucking slow.
All right, we are ready for our first dip into the Earth Cave. This, and I'm not joking, this is the hardest part of the entire run, is this chunk right here. Just until we are actually done with the Earth Cave, if there is any reason to never want to speedrun this game, the Earth Cave is why. This whole dungeon is ass. The speedrun doesn't make it any better.
At least the Earth Cave is immediately followed by the Ice Cave.
See, Ice Cave's really not even that bad in this version because of Tiptoes.
Yeah.
The Ice Cave is really only bad for people that run NES, because good fucking luck.
And PSX.
But nobody runs PSX, so ain't nobody got to worry about that.
Trying to learn the game. I was routing through the game then.
There is, in fact, a place where Gigas spawn on every tile. I call it the Hall of the Mountain Giant.
Yep. Not even just you. Like in the NES strategy guide, which unfortunately is in my storage unit, because moving in space and everything.
Is that your prison wallet?
Yes, it's my prison wallet, which is why I make so many trips to the bathroom. But hey, every time I'm in there, I have reading material in hand after a little bit of effort. But the NES strategy guide, which I believe was Nintendo Power number 17, actually lists out, or actually names that the Hall of Giants, and recommends that you grind there so that you can afford the ridiculously overpriced armor in Melmund.
Funny story, we actually are going to buy one of those ridiculously priced armors. But it's after we've done our grind for the game and we have more money than we could ever possibly need.
And it's because it's just quicker to grab that than some of the other armor.
Alright, floor 3 is where you've seen me kind of doing tiptoe saves, but not to this degree. Floor 3, I am doing what's called tiptoe saving, where basically every few steps, I'm going to save the game. And the reason being is because, remember those Pisco demons from earlier? They're just a regular enemy on this floor, and it's unrunnable.
Because they still have their boss flag.
Oh,
And
please, please, please. Ah, fuck. All right.
this encounter was why we bought Diara, which is just an upgraded. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
Yep. That's floor 3 of Earth Cave. Shit like that happens on the reg, so that's why you just kind of prepare for it.
Yep. And that's actually one of the tamer encounters on this floor. It's not unrunnable, but like we said, undead things have a high agility stat, and until we do the big grind of the game, we're going to be slower than most things.
It feels so bad running from Grogers.
Yeah.
I just don't need it, though. Everybody's already level 10.
I mean, honestly, that's part of why the dog shit strats ended up coming in as slow as it did, was because I was still taking encounters like this.
If I do get Minotaurs, I will definitely still fight Minotaurs, just because that's 1,000 gil. Damn it, CC.
And it's a good, healthy chunk of experience to boot.
They're just mummies, dog. Oh, hey, look, Piscas.
Piscos are an automatic reset.
They are now that they double targeted CC and just
Oh, I said that before I saw it was 2 of them.
Yeah, I was gonna take 2 because we can fight 2 pretty, without too much danger. But CC was targeted for deletion again, so which I think is gonna be the theme of this.
They're actually a really good source of experience and gold early on. You know how we were talking about fixed encounter tiles there? Well, you'll see later, that's how we do our grinding, because let's be honest, it's really slow to just run around and maybe run into something. And we don't have a manipulation in this one, like in Pokemon Red that you guys just got done watching for, the God Nidoran. So we find a fixed encounter tile, which has an enemy that gives good golden experience and dies pretty fast, and that's what we use to grind. But in a casual playthrough, if you want to get some early golden experience, maybe you want to get your spells filled out while you're still in Elfheim, you can just regrind those wizards, and it'll get a little bit easier each time. By the way, Vampire, he's a boss.
Was a boss.
And what you're supposed to think is that he was the cause of all the rot of the Earth. So you kill him, you get this fetch quest Star Ruby, which is just a ruby in the original game, and you see that you can't go any further in the dungeon. Because if you go through that door and all the way down, there's a big stone slab there. We're not strong enough to lift it up because no one is. Except that old man and his rod.
I guess we just use it to just, like a crowbar, just pry it open.
I thought it was just like a magic rod that you just slap it with and it shatters.
Yeah, the rod would probably shatter, you're not wrong there.
We just bring the old man and hold him by the ankles and swing him at it, and then he shatters.
But this, if this was all that you had to deal in the Earth Cave, it actually wouldn't be that bad. But we have got to walk all the way out, do a completely different little arbitrary change of items, and then come all the way back in to where we are right now, and then 2 more floors, and fight the hardest boss in the game.
Remember when we were talking about 15 tile, I told you guys about the escape rope. This is one of the 2 dungeons where it's pretty damn usable.
But in a normal playthrough, there's 0% chance of getting an escape rope because they don't exist as items. That's something that was put in almost as an Easter egg. You can only find them in the bonus content of the game. They're not in the game normally.
Yeah. And at the other dungeon where it might be useful, you have access to the exit spell.
Fucking cockatrices.
And these guys have Stone Touch.
I'll risk 2 fleas. After that, I'm fucking resetting. Because I only have 1 gold needle, and that can go real bad real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, if they get some decent rolls, you just have a guaranteed reset because they'd just stone your whole party and you'd be dead.
I've done this long walk of shame with no gold needles before. It's not fun.
No. Having at least one for safety is always a good idea.
Targeted for a deletion again. What did you do, CC? Why do the Pisco demons hate you so much?
And it's always been by like 1 to 2 damage that you've been knocked out.
Got calamari on your breath. Did you like taunt him in melee or something? Like, did you wobble him? You fucking wobbled him, didn't you?
Because it's starting to look personal. It's like you teabagged the wrong corpse in Halo, and then their uncle really did work at Nintendo or something.
Blah.
Yeah, a lot of the undead have paratouch in this, and so they'll do what's called stun blocking, which is where your entire party gets paralyzed and you can't take a turn.
Yeah,
And you keep hitting it and reapplying it.
it's not like you get to, you know, have a 50-50 shot at attacking when you're paralyzed. No, your character can't do anything until the status wears off.
Yep. And there's no set amount of time, it's just when it feels like it. I also hate running from Kroger's because those Karens are fucking terrifying.
Oh, hey, look, we got Minotaurs.
Hell yeah. Now, at this point in the game, these guys can hit pretty hard. They get multiple attacks, which is where a lot of the extra damage comes in from. But, yeah, they give good golden experience.
Mm-hmm. Really good. Like I said, 2 of them is basically 1,000 gil, which right now is just magnifique. I've been so lucky with preemptives against the anacondas.
Yeah, they're, funny. In the original game, they were named Cobras, but they weren't poisonous. So they got renamed to Anacondas to make a little more sense. And we gotta take our Star Ruby over here to the Titan's Tunnel, which we could have come to earlier. But we knew that we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, for the longest time, I actually didn't know that this was V1 of Titan. I thought it was just some big motherfucker in a cave that liked to eat rocks.
Yeah, this big purple dude. Thanos lost his pants whenever he snapped, and he's looking for Infinity Stones to nom on.
I mean, he is pretty thick. You do get to see a little bit of golem booty.
Mm-hmm. He got thick thighs. They unfortunately will not save any lives, but he got them.
I mean, look how defined those glutes are for a 16-bit sprite.
He's gray here. He is purple in the original game, I think. It's either that or the dungeon palette for this is purple. Something's fucking purple here, okay? Now we're breaking out the booty emotes. Post them if you got them.
Or if you don't, you can always post your favorite Krillin emote.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2 Krillin emotes side by side just kind of looks like a really nice shaped booty.
It's very true.
I remembered not to hold up this time.
That's always a good thing.
I'm really bad because you go up into this cave, but it spawns you below the stairs when you come in. So if you're still holding up, you just go right back out of the cave. And I do that almost every time.
But yeah, there's just a random old man giving away rods out in this, they're earth rods in this game, and the original is just called Rod, so take that how you will. Which, oddly enough, I can tie into the Pokemon run that we just watched. Because in the original version, the old man that gives you a nugget gives you a golden ball. And that's Japanese slang for, yeah. So in Japanese in there, for all the generations, there's been this running gag of this old man giving you his golden balls. And that got cropped out in translation.
That's a thing?
Yep, and that is why I was talking about before we started that Did You Know Gaming video.
Bro, I had no idea. I straight up did not know that. That's awesome.
Yep. So yes, the unifying factor between Final Fantasy and Pokemon is geriatric genitalia jokes.
Balls! It was always balls.
Whenever you say balls like that, I can't tell if you're about to get ambushed by Geist and stunlocked, or if you're just making a joke.
Both. Because to run this game, you gotta have big brass hangers.
That's actually what we're carrying around in the corner of the menu screen in the NES version.
It's true.
Is 4 dim balls.
Alright, now we're back. Back to this hellhole. That's an ambush. I'm just gonna go ahead and reset.
Did you guys miss this place? Because we're here. CC, if you're a boomer, I don't want to think about what I am. Put me in a fucking home.
I mean, I've been trying to for 3 years.
And I told you it needs to have a pond where I can fish.
You can fish in the pool, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to... I want to fish up actual fish, not granny panties.
I didn't have anywhere to go after that. You just cold stopped me on that.
Granny panties will cold stop anybody, really.
Depends on the day.
Yeah, true.
Any port in a storm, my friend.
Yeah, except really when you're not parking in a port, you're just parking in a whirlpool and then it sucks your ship down and destroys it. Like
Damn you, Carl boss.
Like in Final Fantasy V. Hey, I can tie in all these jokes.
They said highbrow humor was impossible for us.
And they were right.
Yeah.
Surely you know that I have to toss Tabasco on anything wholesome and spice it up a bit.
Why Tabasco? Tabasco is like garbage tier hot sauce.
Okay, Louisiana.
There you go.
Frank's Red Hot if I'm in a pickle.
I would have also accepted Tapatia.
Ooh, top T is good.
Tapatia is real good.
Mm-hmm. I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, we called him Groger earlier because that's obviously their NES name.
Mhm.
A lot of
Green ogre.
Yeah, but they're ogre chiefs in this one.
Ain't even gonna fucks with that one. Ain't even gonna fucks with it.
Bad day, bad day.
What time are we looking at?
You were at just over an hour, so we're not getting the sub-hour Lich fight, unfortunately.
As long as Lich dies before an hour and a half, I'm happy.
Very true.
Lich made me his bitch in practice this week. It was just bad. That's the one I was talking about, that it can just absolutely stonewall you. We're coming up to that. If it gets too ridiculous, I do have a backup save file right after Lich, so we won't necessarily have to mercy kill it. If it gets way too bad, I'll just load up a different file and show the rest of the route. God damn it, CC!
I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Well, you're kind of doing both right there. I wonder, next time you open up the menu, just for science, fucking swap CC and CJ.
Alright.
They're at relatively similar HP values. That's only going to fuck you up whenever you're used to spells being in one spot and not another.
Yeah, it's... and I've got memory, so...
Yeah.
Alright, so we're past the hellacious floor 3, and now we get to do its ugly second cousin, floor 4.
Whack! See, it's gone. We didn't lift it up. We didn't put it anywhere. Because you know our lazy asses would have put it right next to the fucking staircase.
Mm-hmm.
So just mirror those troll sprites look like they're listening to Nickelback.
That's me when I have to deal with trolls and Twitch.
Very true. Play my weapon.
Play my wevel!
Exclamation point ad.
That only works in my chat.
Yeah. If you're in the Silent Hero chat right now, A, what the fuck are you doing? Get over here with the party at Speed Docks. But B, before you do that, type exclamation point ad and then just type in whatever the fuck you want after that. Because it was such a problem for a little bit when Hero here was streaming Mario Maker that people just come in and they give you unsolicited level codes. Just passing those around like they're certain phallic imagery.
Yeah, just come in, just fucking helicopter in that shit.
And yeah, so to discourage that, we made a specific command.
You may miss the Mario Maker streams, Shules, but I do not. I am not a Mario Maker streamer, and I am fully aware of that now. You come to me for RPGs and Super Nintendo. Or any, sometimes a combination of both.
Occasionally an action game or some anime titty. Sometimes all four wrapped up into one.
Those are the best streams.
Mm-hmm.
Floor 5 is, like, not anywhere near as bad. I say as I immediately get an ambush. But I'm not saved in a minute, so I'm going to try and run from it.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of, like, big spooky scaries, and it's a very short floor. But the end of the floor is where we could potentially get comfy for a while.
To follow up on that, Shules, the only one for me on that is Super Mario 3 Rando.
You rage quit that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Cross your fingers, cross your toes, cross whatever appendage you feel like. It's time for the RNG fuckfest.
I would cross something, but the doctors refer to that as torsion. And I'm not about that life.
So basically there's a chance, and a very high one at that Lich will cast Blizzara. And if he does, we reset. Because we can't survive.
Remember how I was telling you about Astoast or Astoast or Astus attack script? Well, Lich is very similar. He's got a 50-50 shot to use either a spell skill or an attack. And the first one in his skill tree is Blizzara. And that can do upwards of 160 damage. And if you'll notice, CJ and CC don't have that because red mages they have a hard time with living. Now, this is a fight that if he can win it with them dead, he still will, and he'll mitigate the XP loss later. But CJ and CC, your support role of making sure Temper got stacked on Hero was all that you were here for in this one. Hell yeah!
First try Lich. Let's fucking go.
Paid your dues throughout the week. Make sure you save right after.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
'Cause
sure.
You can still get encounters in this room.
Mm-hmm. Who the fuck needs a backup file? No, we're definitely not out of the woods because I gotta drag corpses for a long time, so we're gonna be tiptoeing a little bit more than we normally would, but...
However, that teleporter right there will take us out of the dungeon, so it's overworld and oversea. And, because of this addition, there are bonus dungeons, one of which unlocks after you beat each of the main bosses in the game. And those are a way to keep kids occupied on long road trips to grandma's.
CC, I gave you the only Phoenix down that I have. Don't let me down.
That's a bold move for a character that we could have nicknamed Swiffer. CC has both Pyra and Thundaga, right?
Yep. Thundara.
That's why.
Yep. Now, I know in the NES version, you actually take a run penalty for having downed party members. I don't think that's the case in this one.
Oddly enough, running is so fucked up by the original spaghetti code that in some positions, characters run better when you have party members that are dead or afflicted by status ailments.
That's hilarious.
So if you're
FF1 NES is like the definition of spaghetti code, and I'm not gonna sit there and trash on him, and especially not Nazir, who pretty much did the entire thing by his fucking self. But because game programming is hard, it's very, very difficult. But holy shit, like 30% of FF1 on NES works as intended.
Yeah, that code is held by duct tape and a dream. Nasir did the best he could with what he had as one fucking person. But yeah, running in the NES is not tied to your luck or agility stat. It's actually tied to luck in this one a little bit. But it's tied to your position and different conditions of other party members in other positions. Which is why if everyone's whole and healthy, you'll notice that the person in your number 3 slot tends to run away successfully the most.
The sea was a forgiving mistress, and I am scared.
And now, we're going to Crescent Lake, which, upon us first meeting, I informed Hero was in the bottom right corner of the world map.
Not gonna pull up the world map to show you how wrong of a location I was in, but notice that I was just in a very, very incorrect spot to be trying to find this place.
And that was the first comment I ever made to him was, "What the hell are you doing? Where you're going is way over there."
Hilariously enough, one of the only times I've ever allowed backseating. Ambushed. Fucking trolls. It was just a single. I probably didn't need to reset, but trolls can be a little finicky to run from.
If the trolls sneak up and start singing Careless Whisper, would that be a whambush?
God damn it. I have a Careless Whisper button, but I don't remember which one it is.
I'll wake you up before I go.
Oh my god, we are 2 steps from safety.
And actually, we can't play the Careless Whisper button anymore.
Oh, that's
Thank
right.
you.
We can't. We can't. Damn. All right, back to life, you poop noses.
Used to have song request stream grind times. Thanks, Twitch.
Thanks, Twitch. Not even really thanks, Twitch. They didn't change anything. It was more thanks, Warner Brothers and Sony BMG.
Yeah. Thanks, BMG and the RCA.
All right, everybody's back to life. And not in, like, terrible condition.
Yeah. Would have been really cool if your mages could have gotten to 13, but you know, not that bad.
Yeah.
That would be high
Okay.
enough to have more student
How many cottages do we have? I sold all the cottages. Okay. So we're just in purchase mode. So I
Yeah, we
want 11 Phoenix Downs and 11 Ethers. And the rest is spent on whatever defensive gear I can afford, which is not going to be much. I
Yeah,
can...
we come to Crescent Lake here because it, like Melmond, is suffering from the decay in the world, namely a volcano to the north of it. Doesn't really show because, you know, they got rivers and everything through here. But there's some old men that have a canoe. And if you came here before the Lich, this is one of the only real locks in the game that, unless you're on the randomizer, stops you from doing a reverse boss order. Because this particular sage in the Sage's Circle will not give you the canoe until the Lich is dead. It is hard flagged for that. Speaking of randomizer, though, there's a flag called Confused Old Men that causes all of them to shamble around, so you have to talk to all of them to figure out which one's going to give you the canoe, and it is quite funny.
That also kind of sounds miserable, actually.
It very well can be. But you have a dash button added to the NES version, so it's not that bad.
Randomizer does a lot of very nice things.
There's a lot of good quality of life fixes. They put some real love into that. Now that we got the canoe, there's 3 places we can go. This is where the game starts to open up a bit. We could go to Castle Ordeal, which is where I went into dog shit strats first.
That's where I'm going.
Oh, you go to Ordeal first?
Yep, I do ordeals first.
Okay. Oh yeah, because class chains lets you get your spell charges better.
Mm-hmm.
And your mages benefit from the growth on that. If you want to get nitty-gritty deep into the details of FF1 and class change, certain party members benefit from it at different times, just based on their growth, but that's all min-maxing and not super relevant.
Well, and even to dial it back, explaining, like, you may not even understand what we mean by class change. The classes we start as are, like, entry level, so we've got, you know, fighter, red mage, and white mage. What we're about to do allows us to level up to our full class, which is going to turn the fighter into a knight, and the mages into wizards, which will allow them to do basically the same things, but better.
And late game equipment and magic are locked behind class change. So while not entirely necessary, it's highly beneficial. And there are some routes that don't do class change at all. And they do end up being a little bit slower because they rely on the black belt as their main damage dealer and buffing him up. Because he's one of the classes that doesn't benefit from class change, and there's only a handful of spells that, you know, they could really utilize, so they just go without. And they hope for another another escape rope to use at a particular dungeon that you have to dive in and walk back out of later. So this is the Castle Ordeal or the Citadel of Trials, depending on the version. And there's two ways to get here. As you saw, you can take your ship across the ocean because the world map wraps because it's round. Sorry, flat earthers. We dropped the ball on that. And you can hop off your ship onto a canoe and just walk right there. Or you could wait until you have access to the airship and park very far away and walk through higher level enemies to get there, and we went with the easier route.
Hey, God.
You're showing off all these high level encounters here.
Yeah, the encounters here suck. You're not meant to be here this early, but we don't really care.
You can, and there's a fixed encounter that is decent for grinding here. It's not the best, but it's decent. You come in here and you talk to an old man who, was he ever really there? And the world may never know. But the prerequisite for this is to have the crown. You have to have the crown to get onto that throne and warp, which you already had to have to get the magic key to even be able to get out of the world there.
Oh no, zombies!
Now this is a, zombies are actually really fucking good experience in gold. This is a teleporter puzzle, which, if you're not familiar with the puzzle, is a pain in the ass, but the trick is to go to whichever one is furthest right or furthest down. That's Horn losing its religion? Are we going with an REM in chat right now? What is that?
Whoops. Didn't mean to flee with CC.
At least it's not like FF6 fleas, where each character individually has to run, and he just miss out on the experience.
Right. Yeah, flee is an everybody passes or everybody fails kind of scenario.
Now, that room up there does have a chest with a trap tile in front of it. However, because of the coding in the original game, some chests in dungeons are linked. They're magic. So that chest is actually linked to another chest on the next floor that we'll take. And if we had taken it there, it would be opened and emptied here. Vice versa applies. So I assume it's the void that Gilgamesh is traveling through to find his lost lover Bartz. And I need to step out for about 5 minutes and I'll be right back.
Godspeed, you merry gentlemen. But speaking of trap tile, the nightmare here is another one of the infamous trap tiles. You can either get one or two. We got lucky and only got one, so you can just kind of kill it. You can flee from that one, which is nice, but it's very difficult. I was trying to tiptoe. I got the encounter right as I hit start. Those Rakshasas have a high ambush rate, and you do not want to be ambushed by Rakshasas. It's not a good time. There we go. I want to make sure that the ruby armlet gets on the white mage. So armor in this game isn't as imperative in the early game like you think it would be, because armor is tied to evasion. So sometimes it's actually better to not have armor, because your evasion will be higher.
Naked monk strats?
Naked monk strats.
Yep. Yeah, for all the things that they screwed up in the coding, that's one they actually got right, was about how the absorb and the evade kind of go hand in hand.
Alright, what are we getting? 2 dragon zombies. We're using fire.
Also, the dragon zombies here, I don't know if you went into it while I was gone, can drop mega elixirs.
I did not.
So if you find yourself in a pinch playing casually and you need some mega elixirs to get through a boss fight, you can farm them up off of these guys just running into this tile over and over.
We have a better spot to farm for experience, but if we get a mega elixir, we're definitely not going to turn it down. We did not.
Damn.
It's no megas this time. They can still be really handy even in the speedrun, but it's not. Again, it's not really worth taking the time to force one.
I want to say that one is a 1 out of 64 drop. It may be 1 out of 16. If so, it's like the rarest 1 out of 16 I've seen. Still no Sword of Kings.
We don't talk about Sword of Kings.
Oh, yes, we do. I gave up 8 hours of my life on 2 playthroughs for those.
I did Sword of Kings once. Never again.
I always say
never again.
And then I get there, and I'm like, holy Starband Deluxe, fucking you got a package for me? Give me the good shit. And then, yeah, he doesn't, and then neither does his friend, or the next 100 of them. And 4 hours later, I'm just sitting there fiending for a Sword of Kings.
So, it's a 1 out of 128, right?
It's either 1 out of 128 or 1 out of 256.
It's either a 128 or 256. Either way, it's an absurdly rare drop off of one enemy in one area of Earthbound, and it's the only weapon in the game for Pooh.
And it makes him slightly less poo.
Just slightly, though. It makes it to where his physical attack actually does something, but generally, if you're using physical attacks with Pooh, something terrible has gone wrong.
Yeah. Because really, unless you're using Ness, like, occasionally Paula for her PSI, like, what are you doing?
Canoe trip to the ice cave.
Yay! Now, the ice cave, you could go on a very long clusterfuck. Well, I guess it's not that long, because that port was right there. You can park at the port, or you can just, shimmy off the ship in your canoe.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, you can also pitch a tent in your canoe. They're very versatile.
It's a good tent.
And with the NES sprites for the canoe, you know exactly who's doing all of the fucking rowing. It's the red mages, even if you don't have them in the party.
I mean, it's very common to pitch a tent in my stream. I know, I understand. I got the long flowing locks, the beautiful beard. It happens. I understand these things.
It's really like if you crossed Aslan with James Earl Jones and you went totally the wrong way.
I did. I meant to take the bottom route. Took the top. Woo! You got punked there, sir.
I lich so hard. Get out of here, Nacho.
Antidote.
It's always an antidote, never an antidote.
CJ, come on. I guess CC's your buddy. You don't need to follow in his footsteps.
You got turned around hard.
Well, the reset fucked me up. I had to reposition myself from the reset. I was like, wait, where am I?
I missed the reset.
Yeah. That's how fast I was at it.
You were trying to go to Whisperwind, weren't you?
Almost. That would have been a disaster.
Still safer than going to Lifespring at this point. Whisperwind is one of those bonus dungeons that unlocks after you shine the light on the air crystal, which is supposed to be the last one right before you go to the final dungeon of the game. So it's 40 floors of bullshit is what it is.
Oh, hi, ogre. Yes, scoot. All right, use the tent. Want to make sure we are have the highest amount of HP and MP that we can possibly have before going in here, because this can be a doozy.
I will say I was super proud back when I was trying to route this on my own for the PSX before anyone was really publishing routes. And I had a save file for practice right outside the ice cave at an hour and a half. I was super proud of that back then.
Damn,
Now,
son.
That's fucking standard.
Yeah. But I mean, even on PSX, that would be impressive, because PSX, as we've established, is garbage.
Yeah.
Not the console itself. Love the console, but the ports of Final Fantasy to PlayStation 1 were very, very bad. Whoa, 7 Pisco Demons. If you thought 4 was bad, wait till you try 7. Yeah, there's some nasty in here. There's just some hot nasty in here, which is hilarious because it's the ice cave.
They're not even. Neither of those things are actually the worst things in here.
Nope. We have the Pisco Demon's angry older brother here.
Yeah. Who has Death Touch.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts showing up on this floor. Ice Cave B2, which is just a big square.
Yep.
So if you get lost on this floor, you fucked up.
You done goofed.
Yeah, beef. That was a really terrible Pete impression, by the way.
I don't even know what you were trying to impersonate.
I was trying to impersonate Pete.
Like from Pete and Pete, or like Pete from Goof Troop?
From Goof Troop. I told you it was terrible. I acknowledge the failure.
Acknowledge harder.
Oh, I'm not going there. Not in someone else's house.
Yes, please. You want to piss on the potted plants in your own house, that's fine. Don't do it in somebody else's.
Wizard, you're one of the other assholes in here. We got lucky and got a preemptive against him. A lot of times, it's an ambush, and they start out with Firaga. Which, if you remember how well we held up against second tier spells, yeah. Oh yeah, the Death Touch Mind Flayers also have a full party paralysis attack.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
And we've officially hit the point in the game where anything good you find in a chest rather than buy. And he's stopping to save here because right below him, wouldn't you know it, another fixed encounter. That's a really friendly one of those.
Yeah, this one's not bad at all. Like this one's super easy to just Diara or fire my way through.
That can have up to 9 enemies, and like each of those enemy types in here are on like a 0 to 5 ratio.
Oh god, Dark Wizard. Please no. Please no, Dark Wizard.
Oh, did you get him? Did you get him? You got him!
Flee, goddammit, flee!
On this floor, if you're playing casually, there's some really cool stuff in the chests, like ice armor and ice shields and a bunch of gold. But there's also some fixed encounter tiles on each of those that just make them not appealing. Like white dragons, which we thankfully avoided on that run through. They're a 1 in 64 encounter in there. And back to our old buddies, the Piscos.
7 motherfucking Piscos.
Here to teach us the lesson that 7 can be a lot of something or not very much. It's a lot of piscos, but it's not enough tacos.
Taco. I flee from the Ice Gigas because it's really difficult to run. It may even actually be unrunnable.
It's actually the White Wolf that's unrunnable there. Because you'll see that encounter again whenever we go learn to speak Lufenian.
Oh yeah, on that long walk to one of the many MacGuffins.
To go make Rosetta Stone pay off. It's a great subscription, but you don't get anything out of it if you don't put the work in. Sleeping bag in, yes, the ice shield. That one we pick up because it's right there. And I hope you like this room, because we're going to be here for, probably the next 15, 20 minutes.
Yep, this is the grind for the game. We're gonna get every level, essentially, that we need for the remainder of the game right here.
Now, the newer route for this game doesn't so much worry about your levels as it does the gold amount. Because you're really just buffing the shit out of one character. What we're really paying attention to here is the HP values of the red mages. Ideally, we want to fight, 31 of these?
Well, we want to get to level 31. We're not exactly like counting encounters. We want to get everybody to level 31 because that gives us the best chance for our red mages to have broke 300 HP. In addition to that, that puts us close to our white mage being level 33, which is what we need for them to learn Healaga later.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was just gonna say we'll get the remaining of levels that we need on the white mage just by killing bosses through the rest of the game.
The 31 eyes, oddly enough, also the same fucking number, is one of the newer routes. That's how many they fight, so they can have enough gold for the rest of the game. So 31, very important number. Honestly shocked it's not the number 23.
But it's really not. It goes quicker than you think it would because the experience ramp in this game is very low. So, and the Evil Eye gives a very, very generous amount of experience for the effort that it takes to kill it. Because it only has like 160 HP.
It's in that neighborhood. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. It's one of the ones that dies so fast usually that it's not worth remembering.
So you can pretty much just hold A and there you go, and you'll gain a level, every 2 to 3 Evil Eyes, even up in the 30s.
Now he will want to stop and save every so often. Just because, as you'll notice, we're stepping off the fixed in tile counter, or fixed encounter tile, to step back on it, and you can run into some of the nasty motherfuckers doing that. And they'll wipe you, and then you'll just have to reset your progress and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And also,
Evil Eye does have Thundara, which can hit really hard. But we've been getting very lucky turn order, and he's not even been able to get in attack recently, so it's going a lot quicker than it can.
He's got Thundara, and they may have taken it out of this version, but he's also got some instant death spells that kill anything with less than 300 HP.
Yeah, in the NES version, he's got the Quad X spell, but that doesn't exist in this one, so... I hope that one didn't come across the mic. It did when you brought attention to it.
It wasn't even me, that was my mother-in-law in the next room.
Oh my god. That's impressive.
It really was. I kind of want to go get her photograph. But yeah, like like we were saying, you gotta save semi-regularly just because that can't happen. Or if you fat finger and go down a hole.
I've done multiple times.
Yep. You get in too much of a rhythm and you slip away from it for a second and you just right down the poop chute back to the floor below. Also, trolling may seem like a modern trend. However, if, as you were coming through this room the first time, you went to the right to open up that chest that's over there that we passed by, you would find that it was very much real in the 80s. And that chest contains 1 cloth armor, and to get it, you have to fight 3 of the dark wizards, or maybe they're the dark fighters. Regardless, they're assholes, and they will kill you on a fixed encounter tile right in front of it.
Mm-hmm. Because like we said, they have fire 3 when everything else in this game... I'm going to go ahead and grab this. This is the item that we actually came in here for. The levels are just a bonus.
The Levy Stone, or the Floater, if you're an old fart like me. And I really feel like them discovering that people could exploit fixed encounter trap tiles for easy grinding is why we had actual monster in a boxes in the later games.
Probably.
And even then, they had to figure out, oh, we can't just give them the item and then have them have the fight. We have to make them win it from the fight. Because there were some in like Final Fantasy 2 and 3. It was 3 in particular. In the Sassoon's castle, right at the beginning of the game, if you go up that tower to go fight the Griffin to get the White Slayer, you get the White Slayer before the actual fight.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a mage in your party, you can equip it on there and benefit from really badass weapon in a fight that's supposed to be really hard for your level and you're supposed to do after the Jin.
Yeah, a lot of later Final Fantasies gave you the ability to modify your equipment mid-battle. Usually just your sword and shield, things that are in your hands. So in 3, where you get the item before the encounter, you get the item, start the battle, equip the new item, and use it to help. Then later on, they got wise to that and were like, you know what? Let's make you win the fight to get the item.
Yep. Which is why I will always say, even for games that aren't connected by storyline, it's fun to play them in order and see how the game progressed and grew as it went along. Which you can see traces of the idea floating alongside all the Final Fantasy games if you're looking for it.
And a shameless plug, if you're enjoying this, if you're enjoying Final Fantasy, enjoying my commentary and my devilishly good looks, I play a fuck ton of Final Fantasy. Almost exclusively what I play these days. I'm actually on a mission right now to play the entire series and fight all of the mega bosses in every game.
Yep. He already did the full series stream a couple of years ago, and you know what? How do we really top that? Well, I guess we just fight all the super bosses too. Which, by the way, gets really fucking obnoxious in some of them. And also, there's a lot of people posting a lot of misinformation about, oh, this is what I was afraid of. Good, you got away.
Got the preemptive. Also, I would like to take a second to point out that CJ wins the golden trophy. He broke 300 HP at level 26.
CC, you gotta step your game up.
Yeah, CC lagging behind again. So that just shows you, that's the same class at the same level. Look at the HP variance. CJ with 310 health, CC with 248.
And Hero up there with double CC, more than double CC's HP. Me just sitting down there, minding my own business with a nice, calm, comfy 441.
With basically 5 levels to go, can we get 50 HP on CC? I have my doubts.
Well, a strong level will do 26 to 30. A weak level will do 3 to 4. So 2 strong levels would definitely do it.
Just by proxy of existing, we will get more levels. We won't finish the game at level 31. We've still got bosses to fight. We've still got, you know, encounters that we can't flee from or would be faster to just kill. So,
Not to mention the risk of Warmech.
oh, don't you put that evil on me.
I haven't seen it in a marathon ever unless people were incentivized to go chase it down. I'm just saying.
So you want to explain Warmech?
I think yeah, might as well. Otherwise, people are gonna tune away to Google it.
Yeah, and I mean we're in a grinding section, so like, what else are we gonna talk about?
Farts and tacos. I guess we covered that earlier. Anyway, Warmech is kind of an Easter egg, but he was the first Final Fantasy super boss. And the way he worked is there is one floor of the floating castle, which is really more of a space station, very misnomered, and he is a 3 out of 64 encounter on that. A lot of places say 1 out of 64. It's not accurate. In
Can you stay focused, old man?
I'm saying it, motherfucker. In the step route they found, there's 3 encounters out of the 64 that are Warmech. Anyways, he was a very hard super boss who hit as hard as the final boss and had as much HP as the main boss on that floor, but it was a chance whether you encounter him, because 3 out of 64, you can run around on that bridge for an hour and not run into him. And he's kind of neutered in this game. Still hits pretty hard, but with all of the increases in damage that they had to compensate for and increase other bosses' health, they didn't increase his. So he's still got 1,000 HP. And he's going to go down like a punk bitch if he wants to step up. Anything else?
Yeah, short story long. There's a super boss that we can encounter in one area of the game that I have not had happen in a run before.
I don't think I've seen him in a marathon setting or like a presentation, a marathon exhibition match, if you will.
So that means that it's going to happen in a marathon.
It means he's due.
CC still has not broke 300 HP, and I have some concerns.
Still hasn't gotten a strong level. Well, 48 to 63. That could be 2 weak level ups. I think he'll get there. Either that or it'll be in like the mid to high 290s.
Which means I will have to make sure that he gets one of the ribbons.
Yeah. Ribbons are items in the game that make you immune to all status effects and reduce elemental damage by half, roughly. And there's 3 of them in the game. Only one of them that's really in a convenient spot to pick up for us. Maybe 2.
We still got 3 levels. It can still happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, we will get more levels, so it's not like we're doomed if we don't get 300 HP here. But it's just, it's nice to have that already out of the way and not have to worry about it.
These kind of down moments are fun to do in the actual charity marathon, because then you can set up like betting pools with bits or anything about, oh, do you think we're going to make it? Do you think we're not going to? Which is one fun way to make the game more interactive in helping out St. Jude.
Ho 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 ho!
St.
Yeah.
Jude, which Speed Doxathon will be supporting, which costs, I think it's over $1 million a minute or a day to run. Something ridiculously high like that. And they never send the families of the kids a bill. They just help out kids. It's a bunch of people doing really good shit out of the goodness of their own hearts. And for all you guys watching, be sure to tune into the main marathon and support it.
I'll be there too.
Yes. You'll be there with Final Fantasy X2.
Mm-hmm. 10-2, which is actually my main speed game, the one I'm the best at. It's a very fun, very fast and frantic run with butt mugging. I will let your minds ponder what that is for the next 20 some odd days until the marathon.
Butt mug. Also, Justin, we are going to boost his HP with an elixir, but it's still not going to be high enough if he's not up to 300 so that it doubles to 600.
Yeah, that actually is the strat. We need, he didn't make it, but he's only 6 HP short. So I think I can work with that.
Not to brag, but what was... Yeah, it was mid to high 90s was what I was predicting. Not to brag, but brag.
So he's just bad enough to be good.
He's like the Power Glove, except it wasn't good.
No, there's nothing about the Power Glove that's good.
It's good if you're missing one hockey mitt.
Yeah?
Because that's what it was a hockey mitt that they deconstructed a controller and put it on there.
And not even very well at that.
It's okay, it was slightly better than the Sega Advantage.
Slightly. Very slightly. Ooh, God.
Oh, shit.
I've gotten very fortunate with preemptives on the Dark Wizards.
I'm hoping that's not a sign of something bad to come.
Don't put that evil on me. Remember when 5 Pisco Demons was an instant reset?
Uh-huh. Now it's just 2 rounds.
Yeah, now we just hold A.
For you guys, that was a reset. For me, it was a Tuesday.
Speaking of Street Fighter, some topical news. Did you see where Yoshinori Ono is announcing his retirement from Capcom? He is the Street Fighter guy, so that's a little concerning.
I would have thought that happened right before 5, given how that turned out.
All right.
Of course, weren't they just doing big breakdowns of all the character reveals for all the fighting games?
They just did a big final DLC reveal
Yeah, like
for
they brought
5. It's the final season for 5.
like NetherRealm, Bandai, and Capcom all got into a room and just presented their upcoming strategies and
Here's everything. Enjoy.
which is really neat, actually.
Mm-hmm. Sahagin Chief makes that unrunnable, right? I wasn't stupid.
It's princes that make it unrunnable.
Oh, it's the princes. Okay, I can never quite remember. It's something I should really commit to memory is the actual unrunnables instead of just kind of guessing. But
Well, there's a handful of them, and some of them are conditionally unrunnable. And it's, well, no, there's just a list of unrunnables.
yeah, it's just, there's not really conditional. It's just like this party formation unrunnable.
I'm going to stop enabling your laziness.
All right, so the Levistone that we picked up, aka the floater or the float stone, depending on what translation you're playing, gives us our airship. No more water tiles.
And no more high fantasy. We into steampunk.
It is 100% a steamboat ship. A steampunk ship, steamboat.
Calm down, Steamboat Willie. You don't have the magic hat right now.
Magic hat. We got Urship. And now we pretty much just proceed to steam plow the remainder of the game. We gotta do some quick shopping here. Buy Haste and Blizzara for our red mages.
Haste is the, we were referencing it earlier. It's the other of the essential buff spells. Like, if you're only going to get 2 spells in the game for your red wizards, they need to be Haste and Temper. The other stuff is just conveniences to get out of encounters and give you something to do if we don't need to buff. But those 2 spells, absolutely necessary.
And that rat tail that we picked up in the Trial of Ordeals, or Castle of Ordeals, whatever the fuck it's called, now we take to Bahamut so we can be big boys.
Fun fact, this cave is so long because they wanted to make it look like a dragon's snout. And all those crosses are just torches in the NES version. And Faye, funny
Those
you
are
should bring
crosses? I thought they were swords.
They look like swords.
Yeah, I always thought those were swords just stabbed into the ground.
They might have replaced the crosses with swords in this version, but they were originally crosses. But the indication on where to get the airship, after you get the Levistone, back in Elfheim in the NES version, there's an NPC that brings up the Ryukon Desert.
The Ryukar Desert. Do we play Mario Maker there?
Exclusively. And have a pretty nice beard.
Next pit stop on the world shopping tour is this caravan in the desert.
Which in the NES version, you can just land your airship on the tile with it. Airships don't function on sand normally, though. That's too, that's not solid enough ground for it. And here, we buy a fairy in a bottle, and then we buy several strength tonics and giant tonics. Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
The strength tonics act exactly like a temper spell.
Well, we don't buy strength tonics, we buy speed tonics.
Speed tonics. Speed tonics are like a stackable form of haste. We talked about how temper infinitely stacks. Well, haste is a one and done. But you can get additional turns with the speed tonics. And speed, which we already covered doesn't affect turn order, is related to accuracy stats on weapons, which affects the number of hits per battle that you get to take. There's numbers and why 32 is the magic number for everyone except for black belts, which is 16, but we're not going into full Final Fantasy school here. It's not necessary. What is necessary is letting that fairy in a bottle out so he can give us some beer.
But first of all, we got a snake lady to take care of.
Oh yeah, I forget you do snake after, right after class change.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that you could do now, or you could wait until you were done with the Great Floating Castle. And since we already did our level grind, it's really not much different.
No. This place is going to be a joke. The only thing that of note really here, because we're going to just steam plow through it, is there's a lot of floors lava here, and that actually works to our benefit. We want to be on lava tiles as much as we can because there are no encounters on lava tiles. And surprisingly enough, damage floors don't really do that much damage in this game, so we can pretty safely just walk over them as much as we like.
It's not like the barriers in Dragon Quest. These are doing 1 damage per tick.
Yeah.
And each step is a tick. Now, I can't remember in your route, do you bother picking up the flame armor at all?
Nope.
Yeah, it's just faster to just
I am here to fight Marilith, and then I am outie.
Yeah, the flame armor and the steel armor that we can buy have the exact same absorb value, and one is significantly faster to do. You may have even done it in that last shopping trip whenever I was looking away.
No, we do it on the 3rd trip through Melmond when we have to get the stone translated.
Ah. When we go put in the real hard work to learning a new language. Playing casually, there's another ice sword on that floor that you can go pick up, which is what we have the knight equipped with right now. But we really don't need it. Our red mages aren't known for their great attacking prowess, especially this late in the game. They're pretty strong early game because their variety of black and white magic and decent attack stat helps them out, but after you get past roughly Earth Cave, they just really fall off. And they're just support mules at that point.
That's not to undersell their importance, though, because they basically make the speedrun possible.
Oh, the support mules carry. But it's like the trip down the Grand Canyon from the old Ron White joke. You can take the trolley or you can take the mule. The price is the same either way.
So basically, every boss fight from here on out devolves to Hero is going to attack, CJ cast haste, CC cast temper, Breach casts heal.
Yep.
And then CJ, after casting haste the first time, will then just cast temper along with CJ for the rest. Until the boss is dead. It's literally now we hold down the A button.
And that really only changes very slightly after we pick up the Giant's Gloves in the Sea Shrine, at which point the Knight will do that before attacking. And then in the final battle, we have a little more buffing and everything we need to do. Hell yeah, dinner is awesome. I'm a big fan of dinner.
I haven't had dinner yet. It came at a bad time. What'd you miss? What was the last thing you remember seeing? We can get you caught up from there. Oh, I will explain in vivid detail. You gotta give me a start point, though.
Do you want before or after the shirts came off?
Still grinding Evil Eye? Alright, so we are big boys and girls now. We got the class change. We have an airship now. And we have killed the second fiend. And we have saved the fire crystal. Everything just kind of snowballs from here on out, honestly.
It's a really fast pace.
Once you survive Lich, you're good. Let the fairy out of the bottle. Oh yeah, we bought a fairy in a bottle and we're gonna save her. We're gonna release her. Just be free, fairy.
She's a fairy in a bottle, baby.
Come on in, let me out.
And she's gonna give us beer that she pulls up out of the pond.
And I need 1 ruby armlet and 4 protect rings.
Oh, and the pirate that stuffed her in a bottle is still hanging out right next to the fucking pond. So we're really not solving the problem, we're just benefiting ourselves out of this.
Pretty much. All right, and we need like 41 ethers should be plenty. Give me 4 cottages. That's a little overkill, but you know, not whatever. We've got money.
Now the protect ring protects against instant death magic. Not instant, well, a little bit against instant death touch. That's our protection for that is more going to come from our constitution value and resisting the status ailment. But that's why sometimes you'll still get hit with status ailments when you have a ribbon on later. Also, in the original game, they used Pokemon math, where it would roll 1 to 256, but one of the values would not be included in the counting, and it would still miss or pass through. Which is why the final boss of the game can be hit with the instant death spells and also muted.
But not in this version, I don't think.
I don't think so in this. I think they fixed the Pokemon math.
The critical miss indeed.
Mm-hmm. Do you do waterfall before? Yeah.
Yep.
That defender sword's just too good to pass up, plus
Yeah.
the ribbon.
Defender sword is going to be the last weapon upgrade we get for the night, for the rest of the game.
Plus you're already fucking here.
Yeah.
This is the other dungeon that if you're running the 15 tile route, you want to have an escape rope for.
You don't need it. You have teleport.
Yeah, you have exit at this point.
Yeah. 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 It's...
On the newer route where you don't class change, though.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
On my route, it's unnecessary because we have a spell that can function as an escape rope.
But this dungeon is literally run to the end of it. Talk to our Awesome 3000 robot friend and GTFO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need an item out of here that we're not going to use for a little bit.
Also, would you satiate my curiosity? Would you stop in front of the door and press A? You might be past that already. Yep, you're past it.
My bad. There's the delay.
I want to see if that's one of the doors that's strangely locked behind an item that you have to get this far.
Now this is a trap tile, so that's why I saved before it, just in case it was an ambush, because an 8-person ambush, while not scary, is still time wasting.
Yeah. But it's also why we're going to just teleport out of here so that we don't have to do that again and don't have to walk all the way out.
Warp cube is get.
Which is required to go to the Sky Castle that I've been talking about.
There's our defender. Now we can teleport out.
The defender, which is oddly enough the 4th strongest sword in the game.
It's going to be the strongest sword that we get to see, though.
Yeah, yes, you don't pick up X-Cal. That's extra steps. And Sun Sword is over where the Dragon Armor is, which is extra steps and encounters, and realistically only a couple minutes, but whenever you're trying to get a good time, a couple minutes is a couple minutes.
Z, I have become one with the void. This is just my room. This is...
He actually died to X-Death at the end of FF5.
It's true. 100%. No, it's just I didn't feel like trying to fetch an image to use as a backdrop. Because I'd have had to format it and make it fit and all that. It was just a lot of extra steps that I just did not feel like doing.
Now, the Sea Shrine is another dungeon that we're going to end up double dipping. Because on the first floor, there's 2 staircases, one that goes up and one that goes down. And we have to go up to snag a key item so that we can learn to talk to some goobers that live out in the woods. Basically, they're this game's swamp people. And we have to be able to talk to them to get a key item from them that lets us go into a tower, that lets us use the cube, that lets us go to the Sky Castle. Because padding.
It looks at Gray's stream layout. Like, yeah, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself.
It's minimalism. That's popular.
Sure. Now, we'll need to get a few levels on the white mage here, so there's a couple of encounters that I'm looking for that I will take.
There's a couple of them like that that are a good experience, but man, do they hit fucking hard. Also, ghosts underwater weak to fire.
It's pretty nice.
Don't think about it too much.
Makes sense if you don't think about it. Yeah, the goal is we need to get the, oh my god.
We need to get the oh my god.
The ghosts aren't the best encounter, but it's easier to kill them than it is to try and fight them. To try and run, I mean.
Yeah.
This is the encounter that I want to see. I want white sharks. White sharks are the best experience for the least effort in here.
Yeah. Turn them into some tuna.
But it wants me to fight ghosts, so I guess we're gonna fight ghosts.
At least hopping out midway through the dungeon, because you have to double dip it, lets you go save in the end and get your MP back.
I don't double dip.
Well, when you cast exit to get back, doesn't it just...
Nope. Teleport goes back one floor.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, teleport and exit are two different spells in this game. Teleport sends you back one floor. Exit takes you completely out of the dungeon.
And, just to be even more confusing, they split them up. So teleport is black magic, exit is white. And now it's a floor with mermaids, who are being turned to bubbles because the Kraken has taken over the sea shrine.
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk.
Not because they've gone to land and fallen in love with humans, but because of the Kraken. Kraken is whacking. I immediately regret that one.
The Rosetta Stone! There's your bailout. So we teleport twice to go back 2 floors, because basically you have to go the complete wrong direction of the boss to get the key item. So we just teleport back to the first floor where it diverges. And now we can go back towards where the boss is. Really, Sea Snake? Really? Okay.
I will say, whenever I was playing this as a kid, the tiles are much darker and the stairs down really blend in. So I had the damnedest time finding my way through here. It looks like the sea shrine is all ghosts.
It is. No sharks, all ghosts. Oops, all ghosts. There's the ticket. Now there is an encounter tile that we can use to force encounters with white sharks, so if we need to, we can utilize that. Ideally, you want to just get enough white sharks along the way, but RNG is a fickle beast.
There also is one of the last chests that we're going to open up in the game on the way down.
One of the last, yeah, we got one more after this one where we're gonna get a ribbon out of
In the Sky Castle.
in the Sky Castle. Yep.
Yeah.
This is one of the items that we need. The Giant's gloves.
And what this does is it casts a spell that's similar to Temper called Saber. If you kill a Thundara, we'll do him.
I was looking for the gauntlets.
Did you accidentally? Oh, I was gonna say, did you accidentally equip them when it optimized?
No, it won't. Their defense rating is crap.
Oh, it's better than the Protect Ring.
It doesn't in this. It's just straight up optimized, does not pick it up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Because I think it just looks at raw defense stat.
Yeah. It's like all those times that Optimize loves to unequip your ribbons.
Mm-hmm. CJ, you about took a dirt nap, buddy.
Mm. I will say, for as much trouble as the few rusting runs we're giving you, you're making good time right now. So don't be worried about that.
Well, that's good.
You're at a 213.
Yeah, that's totally workable.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I gave as an estimate.
3 hours is written up there.
That's not happening.
That was a little optimistic. I don't know if we're coming in underestimate with our pace, but we're going to be right around there. Give or take like 15. Not take 15. Definitely not take 15, but give 15. I'm going to predict 313.
Should be all right. Breach 33. We are good to go.
No, I'm only 32. Oh, you meant the white man, the white wizard.
Yes, the white wizard. You dingus. All right. Everybody gets a round of optimize. Actually, hang on. Because of CJ, you don't get the ribbon. CC does. CC needs more protection than you do. You're a big boy. You can take it. We gotta put the baby ribbon on CC.
I always get turned around in this dungeon. It's the only one in the game that does it for me.
It's super confusing because everything looks exactly the fucking same. It's just one of those, you kind of muscle memory it after a while.
Yeah. Especially here on the boss floor, whenever you're looping around through rooms.
Yeah. You're going in a door, out a door, in a door, through a hallway to a completely different room somehow, all within the same floor. And it's like, who designed this place? I just want to talk to him. I just want to have a conversation. Rude.
God dang. The encounter rate is too damn high.
It really is. It's being a bit of a butt munch. Alright, I'm gonna take some time and do some item swapping around. My Giant's Tonic closer to the top. Potion. Swap with Giant's Glove and Gauntlets in case I need them. I shouldn't, but I'll stick them up here with the Ether. There.
Yeah, because, you know, we are kind of in easy street. However, the Kraken, particularly Kraken 2, but the Kraken is kind of an asshole.
A bit.
And he can one-shot even the Knight if he feels a little froggy.
I meant to use Healaga, but Healara is fine for turn 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have Healaga yet, that's right. I have to use Healara. Never mind. Got ahead of myself. That's the reason we have to level you up, is so that way we can get Healaga.
It happens. Now, what we want to see out of the Kraken is he has a move called Ink,
That right there.
which can inflict darkness on the party, which, as we covered before, is bugged and does nothing. Because it took them roughly 9 to 10 games to make darkness work.
Oh, good night, CC.
Oh, so much for getting more HP along the way. At least
Yeah.
you got 300.
I gave him the ribbon and a buckler, and he's still just getting pounded.
Well, it's because the red wizards can't really equip dick for armor besides those ruby armlets. Like, you're... Up until those, I think his best armor option is still that silver armor that you got out of the chest in Elfheim. Or no, wait, that was in the Dwarf Cave. Sorry.
Yeah, Dwarf Cave.
It's been a long day. Didn't sleep much last night.
What'd I do with my Phoenix Downs? There's they are. That's why I always keep an extra stock of Phoenix Downs.
Yeah, they are where the giant tonic was. But yeah, safety downs are a very good decision in this game.
Very, very much. Alright, so that'll teleport us out, but we need to go back into Onrak so that way we can buy Healaga, which is the last spell we will be buying for the remainder of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then CJ will teleport us out. Take a quick jump, skip, and a hop back to our airship. And head straight to the next dungeon. And the last of the 4 crystals. Well, we gotta make a pit stop in Melman first, because we gotta get the Rosetta Stone translated. So that way we can speak Lufenian, but...
Yeah. We got the Rosetta Stone app, we just need a product activation key. Which Dr. Oon in Melmond happens to have. And he is sitting in the top right corner, just creeping around those graves.
Teach me how to speak Oracle.
Oddly, not even the game's last fetch quest.
Hilariously enough, no, but we're about to do that now.
Well, this is still part of that same fetch chain.
Yeah, yeah.
The Excalibur, I say, would be the last one.
But we don't do that because we're too good for Excalibur.
Excalibur's slow.
It's
We
very
gotta save
slow.
the frame. Save the frames, save the kids.
Allosaurus!
There's a goddamn T-Rex out here.
Unrunnables.
There is a palette swap of the Allosaurus that is a T-Rex, and it's a 1 in 64 over in the desert, so maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. Hopefully we do, because that'll get your rare encounter luck out of the way, and then we probably won't see Warmech.
So as a refresher, kids, Warmech bad.
T-Rex good. More unrunnables.
Hopefully the Faragas come out before a swarm of ice storms.
Yeah, because even from Winter Wolves, those ice storms hurt.
And it's more the time loss for the animation.
Yeah.
Like, I can survive the spell, that's fine. Just, God, stop eating up clock.
It's not nearly as bad as the ice storm from White Dragons.
Oh, that's a wipe. We are heading to this town whose sole purpose is to house one final MacGuffin for us.
Well, there's also a spell shop, but for us it means nothing. For a casual player, it means the nuke spell, or flare in this version.
Do we even get to be high enough level that we could even feasibly use the rank 7 spells?
Rank 7, maybe rank 8, no.
Rank 8, yeah. Rank 8 is what I meant.
I think 42 is the level where you learn those.
Well, we're 32, so...
42.
Oh, 42. I thought you said 32.
Yeah, no, not 30, 40, like Mike Gundy.
Alright, we got the chime.
I think it's the full life spell that's here, and that Holy was over in Gaia.
Possibly? Honestly, I don't. It's been so long since I've, like, gone around actually trying to remember where spells are.
Which, if you were ever in doubt about Nintendo censorship in the 80s and 90s, Holy was originally called Fade, and then in FF6 it was called Pearl.
Because it looked like pearls.
And Woolsey was under strict orders not to let that one pass through.
Fucking fuck. The encounter rate. Let's go.
We got a game to beat here. We got a final dungeon that's going to take at least 30 minutes. Probably less. More like 15 to 20.
The unrunnables, man. It kind of depends on the luck we get with chaos.
Chaos and gas. Well, I guess you can save scum, like gas or green dragons.
Yeah, green dragons aren't really an issue because we save scum.
Yeah, there's really not much to go over here besides unrunnable encounters in a long stretch of forest, which we already covered has a higher encounter rate than anywhere else. But I gotta ask, what would you do if this run ended up PBing against all odds?
I would probably go to the Speed Docs website and purchase merchandise.
Okay, I got a follow-up, and it's, what would you do?
Do not.
If your son was at home,
There he goes.
crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry,
Stop. Hard stop.
I'm good. I'm good. I worked it in. A little bit forced, but I worked it in.
Also because there's like a 0% chance of a PB.
Yeah, it's
That-
there's
that-
too many
That train has sailed.
unrunnables. Although the first try lich was impressive.
First try Lich was very nice, especially after like I said, in practice all week, he was just giving me hell.
There you go. Justin's got me covered. And can't land it on desert tiles, so we gotta land it over there. The intended spot is out in the middle of BFE, and you just got a no encounter desert there.
I
Good
did,
job.
it was very nice.
There goes our 1 in 64 T-Rex.
The the speed run is why casually I did not get any items here. Because I was just like, unnecessary. There's nothing good here.
There, except for, Thor's hammer, the Aegis shield, the dragon mail, the sun sword.
Not a lot of tiptoeing that we need to do on this floor, but I will because of that encounter right there.
Yeah, that one you can at least wipe out with one Thundaro or one use of the gauntlets.
But when it's literally on the next step after it, I had already saved.
Also, vampires. I'm fairly certain they're unrunnable still.
The single vampire is unrunnable. Multiple vampires are runnable, but it's only 2, so I'm just gonna bop them.
That's what it was, and that's why I go back to it and retract my retraction. There are funky conditionals on the unrunnables.
I'm also doing it to try and squeak out like a little bit more experience. Because I would like to point out that we are level 34 and CC only has 309 HP.
Yeah, you were not eating your Wheaties.
It should be fine because I gave him the ribbon, but that could be an issue. Well, fine, game.
Now, I will say, this game is a ton of fun to play casually, too. Because with the 6 different character options, there's something like 120 different possible party combinations you can make. And so you can make a lot of weird crap in this game work.
And if you're willing to put in the time, there's not a combination that won't work. It's proven. It's been beaten with every single combo.
And even in the NES version, there's only roughly one solo character option that won't work. 1 to 2, really.
Solo Thief.
Yeah. And it will work.
If you're willing to put in the time.
Yeah. So that version has a lot slower experience growth. And the enemies all have a morale stat, a hidden morale. And if you're a high enough level, it triggers that and they'll run away because, like we said, it's a bunch of Japanese guys that wanted to play D&D on an NES. So, Astos is the wall for a solo thief run. Because to have enough HP to survive his attacks and deal out enough damage without just relying on really lucky crits, you gotta get like in your 20s on level off of, you know, those enemies that you're really not supposed to grind past level 10 on. And so,
Kind of like the World of Warcraft episode of South Park where they grind the cap level on rabbits.
yeah. Yeah, you sit there screaming for Hot Pockets in a poop bucket at that point. Speaking of which, I'll be right back.
Oh my god. Like, are you really?
No. We don't have any Hot Pockets.
Jesus Christ. Now that's a segue.
Those Black Knights in the original version are called Bad Men.
Are they really? Like the Vegeta Badman shirt?
Yeah.
That's
But
great.
I always think of the FF10 line. You're a bad man.
You're a bad... Stay away from the summoner. You're a bad man.
That's what I always think of with it. But yeah, it's literally just Bad Man. And then their palette swap in the final dungeon is called Evil Man. So, evil is worse than bad. This particular floor can get really tricky for people, but it's super simple. You just go horizontally 2 in either direction, and then vertically 2 in either direction, just as long as, you know, it's the same for horizontal and the same for vertical, and then you get to the exit. But this particular floor loops. So, flat castle theorists, you've been disproven.
Flat castle. This is the floor that if we get an encounter could be war mech.
Yeah.
But we did not get a single encounter.
Anyway, well, there's still encounter tiles he can show up in after Tiamat. So that doesn't mean we're out of the clear. It just means we haven't had it yet. It's a nice solid IGT though.
Alright, Giant's Gloves, Haste, Temper, Ilaga.
For those of you at home wondering why we don't think this is quite the most marathon safe run, look at the IGT versus the RTA there, and it's a 23-minute difference. Just on 3 minutes for encounters. Because the 3 cutscenes in the game weren't that long.
Glad he opted to not do double Thunderbolt. That would have been bad.
Yeah, that's a toughie. And along with us saying they just wanted to play D&D, Tiamat, the Mother of Dragons. And you might have recognized the Eye as a beholder, which was its original name that they had to change for fear of lawsuit whenever they brought it west.
Mm-hmm. GG, Tiamat. You fought hard.
Fought hard.
The wrong mage died. Activate our last crystal. Then we're off to the final dungeon.
You shouldn't have done that. He's just a mage. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird tiles in this room that are specifically listed as no encounters. But you can still get encounters in most of the tiles in that room on the way out.
And I've gotten 8 party ambushes, so that's why I still always save after Tiamat. I was about to say, speak of the devil, but it was just 4 fire hydras, so that's, you know, whatever.
Jump on its back.
Now I gotta remember where I parked my boat.
Walk of shame back to the boat. I assume we've all got our high heels in our hands, just had the time of our life at the Sky Castle. And they're too uncomfortable to wear on the way back to the car.
Alright, use one last cottage and we head into the final dungeon.
Which, oddly enough, was the first dungeon.
Mm-hmm. If you were paying attention, this is where we started the game.
That's parallel storytelling,
Or something like that.
George Lucas.
Of course, lore-wise, what's actually happening here is we're using the 4 crystals to open up a gate here, which is a time warp back to this same location 1,000 years in the past.
Because, as I theorize, every Final Fantasy game has a point where they're stringing you along and the story makes sense in the world's rules, and then they take a hard left. Also, originally the only way out of here was the Exeter Warp spell, so if you didn't have those and you had to get out, reset. Pretty much. But yeah, every Final Fantasy game has a moment where they take a hard left turn. Like here, it's, oh yeah, time loop. In 4, it's, oh yeah, we're gonna
Fly a whale to the moon.
Moon to fight our half-dragon brother.
Not half-brother, just brother who is also half-dragon. From the moon. But a second moon that didn't used to be there.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a prison for an old ghost half-dragon.
That we just left up there. These green dragons are really wanting to come out and play today.
For FF2, it's when you realize that it's literally retelling Star Wars.
Which half is dragon? The bottom half, obviously. Wow.
It's not split like hamburger, split like hot dog. So the left half.
Oh, that's even worse.
I didn't say he was a good dragon. He's a very bad dragon.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and 8, it's when our girlfriends made us forget that we were all orphans together.
Oh god. You opened Pandora's box.
Not going with the follow-up joke.
I am proud of that old lady though. I am hella proud of that old lady.
That's a badass geriatric. Fun fact right here. Remember at the beginning of the game when the princess that we just rescued gave us a loot? That is what we used to remove that seal. It is possible in the original version, if you're, speedrunning along, I think you're doing well. It's even possible, I think, in the PlayStation version. I think it was added here that she stops you and makes you take the loot if you don't talk to her. That if you didn't get teleporting spells, and you forgot to...
I got a mega elixir, let's fucking go!
This got saved. It's possible to do the loot skip, though, if you just flat out forget it. And you make it all the way to the end of the game, and you realize you gotta reset.
Really? Nothing? I just got a motherfucking mega elixir off a random encounter and you're just gonna gloss over it?
I said, let's go.
Let's go. Alright, Eeyore.
The run is
Fucking Eeyore, my hype man.
I'm telling stories about bad dragon.
You got this, boss. I'm real proud of you.
I made a subtle, highbrow, adult toy joke and worked it into conversation. I'm not Eeyore.
No dogs allowed.
Guess I'm gonna go sit at the edge of this cliff and think about where things went wrong.
Where'd I lose my tail this time?
Also, purple worms, unrunnable.
Yep. Only one or two I'll fight them, but they can be in large packs.
And one of the reasons we have the protect rings is A, for chaos, because he has an instant death spell, and B, for those purple worms, because they'll cast Quake, which is instant death in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which is
you thought Earthquake was good in Pokemon. They ain't got shit on Earthquake in this game.
Yeah, Earthquake is Horn Drill, multi-party, or AoE.
With no accuracy check.
Yeah.
It's Fissure without the 30 accuracy.
It's Fissure on a... Fuck, what's the ability for Machamp?
No guard Machamp Fissure, yep.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Motherfuck. I swear this floor gives me more problems than any other floor in this dungeon.
Know, up until this floor, this really still could have been a sub 3. It may still, depending on how the RNG goes in the fights. It's gonna be close. Closer than I was predicting.
But this floor just said no. Ain't happening.
No, no, no.
We're still gonna tiptoe on Lich's floor here. Because of 8 Earth Medusa ambush.
And unrunnable Earth Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
Fights. Even though they're kind of weak, if there's 4 of them, it can be a bad time.
Hopefully we just get golems, though, because they're fairly easy to run from.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the clay golems are relatively quick. And I think poisonous.
And I think they cast haste.
Yeah.
Why the golems can cast haste, I don't know, but they can. And they do.
Mm-hmm. They're essentially the platypus of this game. Nothing about them makes any sense. But at least they have a decent pose, unlike FF5 Titan, who constantly looks like he was in the middle of dropping a deuce and someone ripped the newspaper out of his hands.
Really? I love getting encounters right before the boss tile.
At least you saved the tile before that. Okay, are we gonna see it? I'm not even gonna call
turn
it
one.
Okay, so there's the lost legend called the Flareless Lich, where he doesn't cast Flare and instead does a melee attack, and then dies very quickly. That's not what we saw today.
It is not at all what we saw, ladies and gentlemen.
But this is the reminder that, hey, these bosses are going to change up their attack scripts on you. By a wide margin. Although at this point, you guys are really just support and cannon fodder. Like when we get to Chaos, I imagine he'll move CJ up to the top slot.
What do you mean by top slot? Like with where heroes at? No.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Gonna,
The red mages gotta live.
That's
I can't win the DPS race without him. No, I need a hero to have the highest percentage to get punched.
Yeah, because he's the one that can live through it.
Yep.
Honestly, you might be better off. Well, it's risky, but moving Breach up to CJ's spot.
Mm-hmm.
Live through a hit, hit, but if it's a hit after our turn and then Chaos goes first the next turn, that's where it gets dicey.
Yeah, no, the party formation stays as is. I'm not gonna try and dink with.
You're not gonna run an experimental route on the fly in a race scenario? Why? I can't imagine how that could go wrong. Who would ever do something so foolish?
I don't know, Breach. Who would do that?
Not me.
And give me a free race victory that also coincided with being a PB.
That wasn't free. You earned that one. You put in the work. I theory crafted for a week and didn't practice the run.
Which is basically what you do.
I theory craft stupid shit, and then I come in.
Then don't practice the theory craft. Just do it on the fly.
And still somehow get like 3.5 hour times.
I'm wearing my FF1 shirt, by the way, if nobody picked it up because of the tiny box. It's got Chaos and the Warrior of Light.
Tiny box in the void. Sounds like an old buddy cop duo. Just imagine like a Meeseeks box and then Atomos. But yeah, as was all the rage in the NES days, you fight all of the bosses again.
Yup.
Because that was how they lengthened games and made final dungeons difficult.
Remember that boss before? Fight a harder version of it now.
All in a row.
Oh, I think CJ's eating dirt. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just unfortunate turn order. Again, like I said, you roll for initiative every single turn, so...
Fun fact about Merilith, in the original version, she was called Kari, which was a mistranslation of Kali, the Hindu goddess of death.
Kali Ma.
Although I think they confused her with Ashura as well. So
Yeah, by giving her 8 arms and swords in each arm.
yeah. And labeling her as the mother of destruction. And so rather than figure out where the fuck they went astray, they just renamed her to Merilith.
OC, please do not steal.
Ooh, you got some ethers on you?
Only a ton of them.
Very good. I just saw that and I'm like, yikes.
Oh yeah, that would be GG. Like, that would be, we would have to mercy kill it. Fortunately, that's part of the route, is to buy just an absolute obscene amount of ethers.
Final Fantasy 1, most of the game percent.
Yeah, it's a prince. I can't run from this.
Nah, I can't think of a single thing aside from his computer. I'm not even going to put that evil on it. I can only think of very few things that would necessitate a mercy kill at this point. And all of them are catastrophic.
I mean, even that, where I've got a save file, I can pick right back up.
Yeah.
That is the beauty of having all of the... This is safety saves the game, so...
Yep.
Oh, hey, look, it's Nope on a rope.
Naga? No, it's the Sea Shrine Pile of Pain.
Yep.
A name given to it by Geyer. Not me, I'm not that clever.
God bless that man.
That man knows Final Fantasy better than I'll know
Your own name?
pretty much. Like, I thought I knew a whole lot about this game until I started watching that GDQ run with him and Fiesel.
Alright, we got CC up to, like, 319. It was like pulling teeth, but we got, you know, at least a respectable amount of HP on this dingus.
319 blaze it.
What I will say is CJ plateaued hard. He was the first to hit 300 and he didn't do shit with it.
I think his last strong level up was getting to 370.
Oops. Oh, nice preemptive. Preemptive on the pile of pain.
We're coming up on what we used to call the true final boss.
In the
Kraken.
NES, it totally is, but on this version, it is Lich 1.
Yeah.
It is
Kraken.
Lich 1.
Kraken 2 hits harder than Kraken 1 and has more HP. And may or may not hate you and want you to be sad. It's basically any game designed by Edmund McMillan.
The encounters on this floor have been rude AF.
That's just like this whole game so far has just been encounter rates out the ass. I think you need to sacrifice more goats next time.
Yeah, if anything really has been, like, not fantastic about this run, it's just been the encounter rate. Everything else has actually gone rather well.
Yeah. Which is the downside of this being a more pure RPG speedrun, where you're experiencing the whole game, is that you're experiencing the whole game, and a lot of its randomness can really come back to bite you.
Ow!
Kraken true final boss? Kraken true final boss. But, due to the power of safety saves, and Square acknowledging that kids are going to be playing this on road trips and may have to set the game down on a moment's notice, because batteries die, we can just start it right up where we were. Which, oddly enough, I've been playing through Tokyo Mirage Sessions, is an aspect of that that I absolutely love over the other Atlas games. That you can just save anywhere in TMS.
I actually didn't know you had started that up. How you liking it?
I'm not very far into it at all.
Oh, I was full ready for that to be the entirety of that statement. I'm not. Next question.
It's not Origami King, come on.
Oh, poor Origami King. You dropped that game like a lead weight.
I feel like that game dropped me, really.
This time CJ ate shit, but we're far enough in the fight now that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We're not clinging to experience here. We're just trying to get through. Just a couple of drifters passing by. Getting slapped in the face.
I've been watching Grace play it, and it's fun watching her play it because, you know, I get to see, like, everything. And, like, the music slaps, but man, that combat system is garbage.
The music slaps at first. It overstayed its welcome with me.
I have no gauge for how far in she is, but she was in, like, this, like, very Asian-inspired like cherry blossoms, and it was like outside the water temple, basically.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just like that whole aesthetic was beautiful. The water was amazing. The music was perfect. I mean, it was just like very, very aesthetically pleasing. And then a fight would start, and I'd be like, oh man, that combat system is whack.
Chasing down the blue ribbon with Bobby, which oddly enough is where I set the game down. I just.
We've reached the part of the speedrun where we're such on autopilot that we're literally just talking about different video games. It's fucking hilarious. I turned this from a speedrun into just a stream. That's what we've done. This is just how an average stream with me goes.
Yeah. Me more than you, but ADHD is pretty bad from time to time, if you couldn't tell.
No way.
I think Origami King has a fun game there. I think it's a game that's not for me because I had expectations of it having...
I want to immediately challenge that, and why did you have expectations after the last 2 games have shit the bed?
It was precisely because of those 2 games that I thought they'd do more originality. But I should have known from the trailers when your bosses were Pencil Case and Stapler that the well done run dry.
Yep. That, and when more and more comes out about just how hamstrung the development team is by Miyamoto.
Yeah, he really tied their hands on that one.
So it's just like, I feel bad for them. Like, at this point, I feel like they're doing the best they can with what they're allowed to do.
Like, I don't feel bad about purchasing it because it supported those guys, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want Nintendo to think that they can just say, hey, you're not allowed to make anything new or have any kind of real creative freedom. Let's ride bikes. That's the answer to that one.
CC and CJ are just now trading off eating shit.
I mean, it makes the plate go faster, and you don't have to eat as much of it.
It's kind of adorable, actually.
You know what the problem was? We went to Melmon too many times. It rubbed off on them.
It has that effect.
I heard that people in Melmond also don't practice social distancing. So there's that.
Well, I mean, they can't even spell it, so...
I'll be your friend. It's my turn to who die stand up.
Yeah, try not to go to me.eee. I hear that's a phishing website.
Like PH or F?
I'll let you find that out on your own.
If it's F, I'm down.
Dude, I got the rare drop from Tiamat. That's funny.
The rune staff?
The rune staff, I got it. It's fucking useless, but I got it.
I mean, if you need a little extra healing, you can have one of your red mages do it.
I mean, I got a Mega Elixir, so, like, any need for that is gone.
Yeah, it's true.
Because that in itself, pulling a red mage off to heal would be fucking scary. Because the DPS race is so tight. I tried to save!
Also, the strongest weapon in the game, or base game, is down in the southeast corner of this room. They're stronger in the bonus dungeons, but clearly it's not faster to go through those to get it.
Alright, as we prepare here for the final boss, there's a very strict attack script that I have to follow, or this is going to go off the rails real quick.
Yep. So what we'll do is we're going to have everyone first use those giant tonics to double their HP value. And that's going to make sure that, well, we're going to have the 2 red mages use them on themselves. And we're going to have the white wizard use Hilaga. And that's going to give us the best chance of getting to a max HP that's around 600 for everyone. So that everyone is really mostly out of one-shot range. After we get everyone all buffed up with that, we gotta have the knight use the giant's gloves on himself 3 times. So that he can get his own boost in power. While the red mages are using or casting haste and then temper on him. And white mage is keeping us all alive. After a bunch of hastes and after 3 giant's gloves uses, see that right there leading off with a big AoE that did over 300 damage is why we had to have everyone above 300 there. But after we get 3 of the giant glove uses on the knight, so that he can actually do damage, we're going to have the red mages stack temper. After they've stacked temper for a while and we're getting good damage, we'll have speed drinks on there. If we have a free round, which we can, if Chaos uses crack, which is just an instant death spell that we'll miss because we have protect rings on, then we can have Breach kind of play around with using the speed drinks as well. But even following the pattern to a T, looks like we're doing well here. There's still a lot that can go wrong. If it comes down to a Mega Elixir situation or having to use Ethers or Elixirs on the White Wizard, he's probably going to have, well, a Mega Elixir, I think he'd probably have the Knight use it. Regular Ethers, he could probably spare the Reds to do it. Or he's just going to use the Mega Elixir now.
I'm going to use it to get ahead on the HP just so everybody's topped off.
Yeah, that's smart. This is also a damage race, though. We talked about attack scripts earlier. Chaos is no different. He's got a melee attack and he's got a skill and spell script. And about 8th on that list is Curaja, which is a 10,000 HP heal. In the original game, it was just full HP. So we're racing against his heal so that we can kill him before he just negates whatever we do. Now, with this setup, it's not necessarily a death sentence if he gets to Curaja, but it is a huge drain on resources and risky. But because of the way the damage works in the remake here, we're constantly buffing the warrior there, so his damage is constantly going up. Whenever we stop seeing a return from tempers, we boost his speed up even further. So it's possible to do like 6-digit, 5-digit damage in this game. You can one-shot Chaos if you build yourself up enough. And that was about... He has 20,000 HP right here, so we're getting into the good damage. He's got a good pattern. I feel good about this attempt. However, it can still all go to shit with a quickness just based on what Chaos does.
Time is when the screen flashes.
Yeah. Whenever...
Last hit of Chaos, the screen will flash. That is time.
Yeah. Thank you. I was starting to get a bit parched.
See, him just constantly targeting Hero with physical attacks is getting really scary. Because that's getting... Like, if Hero dies, it's a reset. Because he's the only thing that can do damage to Chaos.
This is one of those situations where stacking the Hilaga with that rune staff that we picked up off Tiamat might not be a bad idea. Just to double up on the effective heals. However, killing Chaos is also a good plan.
I would rather do that.
You use slow on CC, which is irrelevant. Slow just affects the number of attacks you get. And the only one attacking is Hero. Meanwhile, you guys keep feeding him Crank and telling him that they canceled Cops or whatever show that he liked to watch from his porch.
That's time.
GG. 30602? Yeah.
Alright, that's not miserable.
Not bad for all the derusting that went into it and all the hell that practice was giving you.
Yeah, practice was in practice I was consistently around like 3.5 hours, and I was like, oh man, this is bad. This is real bad.
Yeah. But first try Lich, first try Chaos. Lost a little bit of time to Wizards.
Yeah, Wizards sucked up some time, especially because I got 2 and then died and had to try and get 2 again. That set me back a bit, and then just the encounter rate on this whole run was just bleh. There's not really shit I can do about that.
Encounter rate, and more so getting unrunnables. Like, I would venture to say that our IGT there, we'll see whenever it asks you to save clear save data.
Oh, we won't get that far. I think we'll have wrapped up by the time we get to that. This ending takes forever.
That's true. I think the IGT is probably around like 2/3